What's happening, San Diego? Great Tuesday morning to you. Welcome back. It's your midday hang. Annie and Elsten reporting for duty. Annie Heilbrunn, Craig Elsten, and Braden Soprenet all together in our Odyssey studios overlooking sunny Murphy Canyon, ready to roll. 4 hours live local sports audio entertainment for you coming from San Diego, California, bridging the gap between Ben and Woods. And Gwen and Chris this afternoon. What's going on, Annie?
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great 3-day weekend. It was nice. It was good for me. I got to catch up with some family, watch some games. So all in all, pretty down low, but good weekend. How about you guys?
Well, I had a great weekend. I don't know about Braden. Braden, you were working all weekend, right?
I was working all weekend, but it's fun. Yesterday I got home from the fourth game of the weekend series,
Jeez,
and I was like, wow, what a hell of a 3-day weekend. So relaxing, so much time off, but you never work when you have, your job's fun. So.
And you had your show Sunday morning.
Show yesterday, yeah. Sunday, yeah, today's Tuesday. Show on Sunday was great. Talked a lot about the Four Nations face-off. That was badass over the weekend.
Yeah.
But it was good to be at the ballpark. It was good to big crowds over the weekend at USD. It was fun. And then quick turnarounds will be going with them to Tucson here on Thursday.
Sushi Sam says it was a mop. You guys you got all four?
No, the TCU got all four.
TCU got all four.
The first game went to extras. 5-4 winner for TCU in extras. USD had a 4-0 lead, and then kind of a fluke of a play with a 4-2 lead late in the game. The catcher, Carson Bowen for TCU, is an Orange Lutheran kid. He hit one to center field, and Aiden Howard, the transfer from Dallas Baptist, who made his collegiate debut, he didn't play a single game for DBU. He was redshirted. He tries to run it down, and it goes in and out of his glove, and he takes a hard fall, and he doesn't get up. And the ball rolls all the way to the fence with a runner on base, and the left fielder, Austin Smith, had to run it down.
Oh, no.
Any other type of action on that play, and Bowen probably gets a triple at most. Instead, he gets an inside-the-park home run to tie the game. And USD probably would have won that game, and then they lost in extras. And then the next night, it was the same thing. It was like 3-1 going in the ninth inning. Adrian Beltre's son made his debut. He's a two-way guy. So he kind of got fed to the wolves on Saturday night because he gave up a run, made it 4-1, and then all of a sudden the bullpen sat down. And it was kind of, all right, well, we got to save our arms for the rest of the weekend, so this is kind of your inning. And he got tagged a little bit to make the score a little bit out of hand. But all the games were relatively close. They just couldn't get that one play to work for them. Ball bounced TCU's way a lot, but that TCU team's pretty good. They'll probably they got a good chance going to Omaha. They hit 11 home runs this weekend.
Ooh.
One of their freshmen, Noah Franco, who's from L.A. originally, but went to IMG Academy. He put one 450 feet to right field and hit it on top of the dorm.
Oh, wow.
He crushed it.
It's crazy.
It was 111 mile an hour exit velo on a home run. His second home run of the inning on a big inning on Sunday. That was the day that TCU really had a really good day. But they got a freshman that can hit the ball 450 feet. They have a transfer pitcher that came in as a starter. He throws 99 as a starting pitcher. He's their Saturday starter. And then they got a guy in the bullpen. He's 6'7", 250. He throws 100.
Okay.
But the problem with that is he doesn't know where it's going. So that's kind of he's a little wild with his 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. But that team's really good. So, and USD is very young, trying to learn how to play at the D1 level and everything like that. So we'll see what they got against the Arizona Wildcats, who is another team that was preseason ranked to go very far in the college playoffs and the College World Series. So should be a fun weekend. And today we got UCSD and San Diego State playing on a Tuesday night.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's go.
That'll be fun.
Some fun college baseball over the weekend. There are a lot of bright spots for the Toreros, even though they didn't get a win. But we'll see what they do in Tucson, and they come back next Tuesday, and they will play at San Diego State.
Sounds like a seasoned USD broadcaster right there. A lot of positives to build on.
There was a lot of positives.
In the 0-4, there was a lot of good things that we can work on.
I mean, only one of the days they got their ass kicked. The other three, they were in the game and just things didn't go their way. I mean, one of the plays was on the front page of ESPN.com yesterday.
Wow.
Yesterday, USD is tied at 6 with TCU in the bottom of the 8th inning. There's a runner on first and third with one out. And Jack Gurriel, who could win West Coast Conference Player of the Week, had 3 home runs, hit over 500 this weekend against really good TCU pitching. He hits a line drive off the pitcher. I mean, he smokes it. It goes off the pitcher's heel, but you don't know if it kind of skipped and hit his heel or if it goes right off his heel. It pops into the air. The first baseman catches it and tags and then steps on first base, and then they throw it to third to like try to, but there was already an out. It ends up being a double play because it goes off of the pitcher. First baseman catches it in the air without the ball hitting the ground, and since the runner at first was just going, thinking it was a base hit, they get an inning-ending double play. That was like the story of USD's weekend, the whole weekend against TCU. It was just plays like that. And I couldn't even. I was trying to explain it on the replay. Like I don't. It's hard to tell. I've never seen anything like that before. Yeah. That was insane.
That's nuts. That's completely nuts, man. Well, plenty of time spent at Fowler Park for yourself, nonetheless.
Yeah, those long hours at Fowler Park.
As a TCU alum, you walked away with a silent satisfaction.
Yeah, it was kind of a win-win.
After giving USD all the flowers on the air.
I can't lose.
Right. Oh, a lot of good things came out of that sweep. A lot of good things came out of the sweep for you, too. Yeah. 4 wins for TCU. That was the good part for you.
The crowds were great. A lot of TCU fans there.
Yeah.
I think they had over 1,100 people every game, which is nice. Stadium sits 1,700, so big opening weekend. It's funny. One of the kids... After the game, I go down to the clubhouse. We could talk to Brock and do a media thing. And one of the players, Gabe Darcy, comes up to me. He's like, "You're wearing purple underneath that shirt, aren't you? Aren't you?" Bringing the bad mojo. And I'm like, "No, Gabe, I'm not. I'm not wearing purple underneath. No. I hit all the purple for the weekend. That's why I'm wearing it today."
There you go.
Because we got TCU basketball against Texas Tech tonight. And for some reason, TCU fans think if they win, they could be back in a tournament chase. I just keep laughing. That'd be funny. But, we'll see.
Well, on my side of the report, Friday night, nice little family thing for Valentine's Day. Nothing special, nothing exciting, just the way we wanted to do it. So fun in that sense. Saturday, went to Boise State SDSU game.
I was going to say, you flew all the way up to Boise? Wow.
Went to Boise, just flew up
there.
Just
for fun?
Went like, wait, you're not here? What? Flew back, got there just in time for the game. A lot of time on the plane that day. But wonderful atmosphere. Aztecs, I don't want to say dominant, but...
They did.
Defensively dominant victory.
They needed that game so bad.
Right.
Yes.
And for it to be aggressive from the start.
They could take a little bit of a breather.
It was
not too much, but they could take okay.
It was nice. It was nice to see. Very, very solid win. Sunday, soccer's got a big win at home. Got the chance to call that game. They got their new turf in. It looks really good.
Yeah, the blue turf.
Yeah, navy blue turf for the Sockers now.
It's indoor. Don't have to worry about birds crashing into it.
That is correct. Yes. None of the issues that Boise has.
Right.
Or West Hills.
Poor West Hills. But a great win for them against the back-to-back champions, Chihuahua. So... fun match there. And yesterday, absolutely picture-perfect day to go out and hit the links.
Oh, yeah.
At Mission Trails. It was just beautiful out there. Absolutely beautiful. So a wonderful weekend as far as I was concerned. And now here we are for 3.5 shows this week. We've got full shows today, tomorrow, Thursday. Friday, we are off early for the best possible reason. The first presentation of Padres baseball of the year. It's the Padres and the Mariners, the annual kickoff game, and it's Tony and Jesse on the air right here on 97.3 The Fan Friday at 12 o'clock. So that's how we line up for the course of the week. What today looks like is as follows. Because we're on a 4-day week schedule, instead of going Monday, Wednesday, Friday with our dear friend Sammy Levitt, from Padres Spring Training. He will instead join us Tuesday, Thursday. Today being Tuesday. That means he'll join us today. All right. 1 o'clock. We will hear from Sam live from Padres Spring Training. Eric Greupner has just met with Padres media over the course of the last hour. We will bring you some of that sound starting at 11 o'clock. In the Padres Deep Dive Hour, in addition to new sound from Xander Bogaerts, new sound from Jackson Merrill. So we'll get you all of that coming up in the 11 a.m. hour in our Padres Deep Dive Hour. And then at 12:20, we'll bring you the Daily Schilt and everything that Mike Schilt had to say today. There was a little bit of news. It's not really news. I don't know. Do you think it's news? We signed Yuli Gurriel to a minor league deal.
I mean, 40 years old, spent most of last year in the minors. I heard that Manny worked out with him in the offseason. I saw that in Kevin Acey's story. And, good for him. He said he looks like he's outrunning the 20-year-olds. I didn't really get it with all the news that had happened with Yu Darvish back in 2017. I thought you could probably find another 40-year-old and take the risk there, versus Yuli Gurriel. But hey, I still don't. I saw the article Kevin did where you said that he was asked and he said it's fine. But it's a lot of drama for like a guy that it's not like you're salivating to have. I guess that's your bench piece.
As long as Yu's okay with it, I don't really care, right? I mean, if he's 2017, it's a long time ago. If Yu's cool with it, fine, go ahead.
I just don't know that you... Do you have to get to the point where you've got to do that, and ask you?
I don't think he's probably good enough to be on the team in general. But I mean, I'm not a huge hold grudges for the rest of your life kind of deal.
No.
So, but at the same time, if they had talked to you and he was like, yeah, no thanks, and then they signed him anyway, I think you'd have a problem.
Yeah, I don't think Yu's ever going to say that.
I know.
But I agree with you, Braden. I think you give second chances. I agree. You don't need to hold something against him.
Though.
I just think that's the thing. It's a 40-year-old guy who has regressed his last several years. Is it worth it?
Well, now people have to ask about it.
Well,
now you have to ask. Now you have to answer questions on this too, because now we're talking about it. And instead of just signing somebody else,
maybe he ends up having a Jerks and Profar type season. I don't know.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
No chance.
I don't even think he makes the team.
No chance at all. I'll just say this very briefly because we'll go to break. My buddy Chris Reed reminded me last night of what I said about Rougned Odor 2 springs ago, and I'm going to say it again here. The reason you don't invite Yuli Gurriel to your big league camp is because you have then invited him to camp, which means now there's the off chance that he goes 10 for 21 with 4 homers this spring, and then you are lured into putting Yuli Gurriel on your team because he's a veteran and he's been there and he's done that. But he's 40, he's stiff as a brick. He couldn't hit last year. He went 4 for 21 for Kansas City when they threw him in their playoff lineup. He helped ruin their playoff lineup. He has no value remaining in Major League Baseball. Rougned Odor had no value remaining in baseball, but he stuck around and he hit a couple homers in the spring. They put him on the big league team, and guess what? 3 months later, he was still there. And he had one good week, and I remember that. He had one good week. The rest of the time, he was a useless part of the club, and that's what I don't want to see. And I don't think we should. I think there's plenty of guys from Ornelas to Perlaza to Brasso, we could go down the list, that could just as easily duplicate what Yuli Gurriel at age 40 is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a low risk move. If he makes a team, it's $1 million or $1.25 million or whatnot, with some incentives. So, in that sense, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's like a Robinson Cano or Rougned Odor or a Nelson Cruz. At the same time, I think it kind of speaks to where they are with their bench. If this is kind of, where you're at, or you should be maybe trying to create that competition. Maybe that's what they're trying to do for some of those younger guys to win those bench spots. Because even if he doesn't work out, then okay, well then what's your next move? Who's behind him? So
why would you keep him at AAA? What would be the point? You'd be taking at bats from Brasso probably.
Yeah.
In AAA, I need that Star Wars jersey. I don't want this to happen. So I don't know. I think
he could could have something left in the tank.
But why? Why do we think that? You know what I mean? He hasn't been good at any point since he was 36.
Yeah.
He's 40.
It's a weird signing. It's kind of odd.
I just don't understand it, to be honest with you. I don't know why you'd need him in camp. What's the point of him being in camp? I just don't get it. Because you've got, I thought, other players that you're trying to sort through. I'll tell you what, if I'm Terso Ornelas, I'm really questioning why I'm in the organization. If I don't get a true and real shot at the big leagues this spring, And it just feels like they're throwing every scrap heap dude from Gavin Sheets to Yuli to anyone, kind of like, well, I don't know what's going to be the DH. Let's just, throw this stuff out there. That's Gurriel's path. It would be his only path is to be the DH for the team. But he hasn't been a hitter in years.
Or a bench piece, right?
I guess.
I'd rather give A.J. Brown a chance.
Yeah.
Seriously. I'd rather bring A.J. Brown into camp just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Russell Wilson fun.
Yeah.
Just bring him in. He's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, is Garth Brooks available? I feel like he's got about as much chance to contribute offensively to the team as Yuli Gurriel. But, yeah, that's about the only news that came out of camp. Also, this morning, Eric Greupner announcing that Don Orsillo has a multi-year, unknown length. Contract extension.
I see he one of the quotes I'm seeing Eric Greupner said is we want him to end his career. I don't know if this contract would have him end his career or this contract would be the bridge to another contract that would have him extend his career or end his career with the Padres, but
awesome.
Yeah, of course.
You can broadcast for a long time.
He'll be broadcasting for a long time. Yeah, maybe those terms will come out and we'll find out. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I don't know. This affect the luxury tax at all? And
good question.
I see also. Greupner was
one.
asked a lot, and we'll get to all the clips, I'm sure. But he says this team is not going to be relocated. This team is not going to be sold. That's an interesting comment to make. Yeah. The relocation, I believe, the sold at any point and in the rest of its history, or maybe there was more to that quote, like in a certain time frame.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe there's some lawyer speak in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard it. So we'll play all that for you as we continue forward on the program. Again, 11 a.m. now. Rebranded your Padres Deep Dive Hour until the end of the season. The rest of this hour, we'll take a look back at some of the flush news and information from the sports world from the weekend that was, including an incredible finish at the Genesis on Sunday. Maybe the last time we see a tournament like that in town in a very long time. And thus, are we going to have a finish like that for a very long time in town? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the college hoops that has been. I already see people chatting in the chat about Four Nations Face-Off.
It's so much fun.
How hockey has just...
Yeah.
When's the last time hockey had a dub? Just like had a win.
Lots of people.
They just
were
showed
into
every
this.
league how to do an all-star
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, no
They just
kidding.
did.
Yeah, by not being an all-star game, by being a blood in your hands tournament instead.
And now it's lined up so well for the last game, for the next
In
game.
Boston. Oh, my God. The fans in Boston.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
We also have a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game to give away.
Wow.
And when you win that giveaway, you're qualified for the grand prize, 4 tickets to the Padres Guardians game at Petco Park on April 2nd.
Okay, that'll
We'll
be
doing
in the
that
Padres Deep Dive Hour.
in the Padres Deep Dive Hour.
Love it.
Awesome.
Can't wait. We'll play silly games a little bit later. Anybody knows. Still qualifying people to go see Motley Crue in Vegas. Again, Sammy Levitt at 1 o'clock. Biggest fan announcement at 1 o'clock. We'll wrap things up with Ask Us Anything. That's your roadmap for Annie and Elsten. We're back after this on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Slam Dunk in Vegas National Contest still going. It's your chance at the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to 97.3 The Fan for at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into this national contest. Grand prize travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination, where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim, plus 20,000 cash. Andy and Elsten rolling with you. Go until 2 o'clock today. 4-day week, and as such, got so much to get to.
3.5-day week, really.
Right.
Great point. That's how I'm looking at it.
I mean, I have a 3-day week, but
That's true. You'll be off in Tucson.
I'll be in
But
Tucson.
you're working still.
True. It's not like I'm. Yeah, it's not like I'm vacation.
Yeah. I know it's fun to travel with a team, but still, it's college baseball. It's not,
That's right.
You know.
I'm just glad the game on Saturday got moved to 2 o'clock because Wildcat basketball tips off at 8 o'clock, which means I can go to the
okay.
game, which
Got
is
it.
great. Be back in McHale Center for the first time since I was a freshman at U of A. It'll be fun.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, play
on
BYU.
you.
It's gonna be great.
Hey,
I might-
okay.
when in Rome, right? When in Tucson.
When in Tucson.
When you're in Tucson, there's not much to do except for
Right.
watch U of A sports, and I'll be at one of their sport, and we'll watch the other one.
U of A Sports and Sonora Dogs. That's pretty much what you've
Yeah.
got going for
Oh,
you.
I've already mapped out the time I'm going to go to El Guero Canelo and get some Sonoran dogs.
Outstanding. Okay. So let's touch on, in the rest of this hour, let's touch on some of the things that's happened over the last 3 days, because once we roll into Padres talk, we've got a lot of Eric Greupner sound. We've got Bogaerts. We've got Merrill. We're going to just be rolling probably the rest of the show mostly on Padres. I know it's not usually the thing that we talk about the most on the program. I know it's not something that you guys like go out of your way to look for on the weekend, but I just can't help but note how quality the final weekend of the Genesis Invitational was. It was not the very best golfers in the world at the end, although Ludwig Oberg, I think, is going to stake his place as one of the best golfers in the world.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah, by the end of this year, quite possibly. You know, I left this weekend going, you know what? Not that I'm a betting person, but if I were, I would just put a straight bet on Oberg across all 4 majors. And not that he's going to win all 4, but that he might win one this year. He might just win one this year. He's got it all. He's got the composure more than anything. He is, for a young guy, he's out there with a little smile on his face, but just feels like his heartbeat is like 65 as he's going through the final round of a PGA elevated tournament with a $4 million prize up for grabs. He was down. He was down, and he birdied 13, 14, 15, par 16, just missed a birdie on 17, lipped it out. And then 18, that famous second shot on Torrey South, he striped it on his fairway drive. He knew he needed a birdie to win the tournament. Par forced a playoff. But that second shot is always a choice, Annie. It's you either lay up short of the lake and then flip it over the lake on your third shot, or you go for it and you bomb it across the lake and you try and land it on that green on 2 and go for an eagle. And not only did he go for that, he got it on the green. It stuck on the back edge of the green, but still, he put it on the back of the green in 2 shots. The power of this young man is just insane. Rolled it close enough, but the kind of putt I missed all day yesterday, a 7-footer uphill that's right there for you, and he drains it, breaks Maverick McNeely's heart, but comes up with just a thrilling win that I think Tiger in attendance would be proud of. It was a very Tiger-esque performance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what a finish for the fans who are out there and everybody who was watching. Torrey, of course, looked absolutely beautiful. And after all that rain, ended up being a really good tournament.
As Sushi Sam notes, he shot Braden from the middle of the fairway. He shot a 7-wood to get to the back of the green over.
7-woods are nice.
I mean, I've never swung a 7-wood.
My buddy's
Sounds
got
amazing.
not Sam, but my buddy Ron's got a 7-wood. He pulls that out every once in a while, and it's a magical club. Magical club.
I just can't even.
You should
imagine.
invest yourself.
Yeah.
Invest in one for yourself.
I mean, maybe. I was happy that I hit a 7-iron okay yesterday. You know, I mean,
7-wood, Craig. If you really want to up your golf game and be excited about golf, you got to get the 7 win.
Maybe I do. What I need to do is
Don't
work
tempt
more
me with a
on
good
putting.
time.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe you're right. I need to work more on putting. That's what I need to work on. Been
But
working so much on ball striking. I
buying
get to the green. I'm like, oh, what do I do now?
brand new softball bat. You're like, this is great.
That sounds
7-1.
Sounds sick. But yeah, Oberg just incredible. Maverick McNeely, great job. Stanford kid thought it was going to be a Stanford kid winning Tigers tournament, and that was going to be the thing. And instead, Oberg is like, I don't know. He's just got that quality that Tiger had, which was on Sunday when everyone's I mean, I feel nervous just teeing off with 3 random humans on one, or like one person comes over to watch and like, no.
I'm not going to be the first guy teeing off, tell you that.
Right.
Oh, you want to start us off? No, I'm not ready yet.
Just ice in his veins.
Loosen up.
Yeah.
I mean, he does. As everyone else is melting down, he just seems like an iceberg out there. But he's an Oberg. He's not an iceberg. He's incredible. Really, really great finish. And then, as I watched it, and I'll just tell you, like yesterday out on the course, like all the guys out, like everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about,
right.
Just the shot making and the brilliance of it, to see it up close and personal. Scheffler didn't win. Scheffler made a charge on Sunday. He made a charge. He was done in by a bad Saturday. And so was Rory. Those two guys, the start of Saturday, they were like 2 off the lead. And you're like, look out. It's going to be Scotty and Rory in the final group. On Sunday, it's going to be highest ratings possible, highest everything possible. No, it was Maverick McNeely in the final group. It was Finau and another golfer in the final. Finau and Rogers in the final group. Not what you were looking for in terms of the superstar power, but that's because those guys didn't come through. They just didn't come through on Saturday to give themselves a chance to win on Sunday. But the next time that we see maybe Oberg, because he played in the Farmers this year, he got sick after starting great. But the next time we see Rory and Scheffler and Morikawa and Matsuyama and like everybody at Torrey, I don't know when it's going to be.
The next time we got the U.S. Open.
That's it.
Who knows what year that is.
Whenever that is. It could be 10 years from now. It could be 16 years from now. The next time we see, it could be late in Oberg's career. The next time that we have this kind of grouping of talent, and every time they put that kind of talent out there, Torrey shines.
Oh, yeah.
And Torrey just shines. It's so tough, but then the end, there are birdie holes at the end, so there's always the chance for late drama. And that late drama delivered again.
Yeah, really cool to see all those big names out there and just to see it look the way it did. I saw it on Sunday and it just looked absolutely gorgeous. But really, really cool. I mean, a really cool finish, an exciting finish, like you said, not one that was quite expected, but nonetheless, shows why they're the best golfers in the game.
Great stuff. Put it in your pocket, the memories of it. It's nothing to denigrate Farmers. Farmers is still a really good tournament. It's just not an elevated field. And unless you get into that distinguished, elevated field, it doesn't matter that you have one of the most beautiful public courses in the United States of America, Torrey Pines. What matters is that $20 million purse. That's going to bring all the private jets into Lindbergh. And when you don't have that, and the next week's tournament is that, which is the case for Farmers now, Pebble comes after, and Pebble's an elevated tournament. It's just the nature of it. Guys are going to go to Pebble early, or they're not going to commit to play San Diego and then go right up there and play for a $20 million purse. So it's a difficult setup for the PGA as far as Farmers is concerned. But thanks to unfortunate happenstance, for one weekend, we got to remember what it was like to have all the best right here and putting on a show. Let's take a time out. When we come back, the college basketball weekend that was, 10 toes in the sand for the Aztecs. They finally did it. They grounded themselves and are giving themselves a chance to push off and to go into a finishing kick. UCSD keeps rolling. We'll get into all of our college basketball news, and then top of the hour Padres deep dive with sound from Eric Greupner, Xander Bogaerts, and Jackson Merrill, all still to come in the first half of Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. So I just saw Sammy post on the 97.3 The Fan Twitter account. Yuli Gurriel takes Michael King deep over the left field wall in live BP.
There you go.
It begins.
The Rugnetador
Perfect
experiment.
signing.
So it begins.
He's got his wig out there too. His mop on his head.
Right. Oh, this guy can really hit.
Oh, boy.
Skipper, this guy can really hit. You see him take King yard?
That's the first day King's pitching.
Right. See, he took King deep. Took him yard ball. Oh, man.
Do you see the pitch he
Gotta
got?
keep this guy.
It's like a fastball, like middle in. Of course, it's gone. It's like a BP pitch.
I remember the first 2 months of the year when Michael King gave up lots of home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 4
Fix
months of
that.
the year, he did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot, that Dodger game on that Friday night where the Padres came back and won.
Yes.
He got, like, knocked around.
He got smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there was like one misplay in there that kept
Right.
the inning alive or something. But yeah, he got kicked around by them. Philly beat him for 4 homers in like 5 innings at a home game. I think it was a Sunday home game. And then the second half of the season came around and he pitched to like a 2 ERA. So anyways, point being, Yuli Gurriel, simmer down now. You're homer off Michael King. You don't have to make the team. Give me a break.
Ah, come on. He's showing.
He's got
He
one more
should.
homer than
Yeah.
everybody else off Michael King.
He's on fire. He's absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. Okay. Plenty more Padres to come in the Deep Dive Hour coming up at 11 o'clock. We talked about it very briefly, but Saturday night, really cool. You know, went to the American Cancer Society golf tournament last summer. Missed one show for you guys being out there because of that. You want to do your part. You want to donate.
Yeah.
So I took part in the auction.
That's great.
One of the prizes up for grabs was an Aztecs deal. You could do it online. I kept bidding online and got 4 tickets to an Aztec game with hospitality. So James brought one of his buddies from 8th grade, and we took the family out to Viejas on Saturday night. And my wife was like, we need to get there really early. And I was like, why? Like, why really early? What? Game's at 7. We got there at like 5:30. Why? Well, then I found out once we went into hospitality, she was completely right. No one knew at the time, but the hospitality is great. It's the same thing that all the season ticket members in President's Club or whatever, and like they had an Italian family restaurant there with.
Were you down below or in the middle one?
The middle one.
Oh, nice.
The middle one, yeah. Open bar.
Oh, cool.
So great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have all the cut water and stuff.
They have the Cutwater. They have the state ale. They had other
AleSmith
AleSmith
there,
other AleSmith stuff, other stuff too. But I just stuck with the state ale to be,
Help the Aztecs out.
both responsible and on brand. Exactly. But by being there early, you could actually sit down and like eat. Like 30 minutes later, it was a madhouse when everyone showed
Oh,
up.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was just, elbow to elbow getting through. But still, really great time.
Probably a great atmosphere, I'm guessing.
Of course,
Yeah.
right? Viejas always is. It's a really good atmosphere. They're doing a thing now where you download an app and then you press a button and then your phone is part of the player intros. So like everyone's phone's like blinking and winking, or
Oh, wow.
or like lights swirling across the arena, or boom 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 pulsing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Now I'm sure I gave away all my data.
Yes.
and,
Well, yeah.
they probably have access to my checking account now at San Diego State.
Probably to James's too.
Yeah,
in
maybe.
the future.
Yeah, exactly. He did not download it on his phone.
No.
Only me. I was the only sucker in the group, but I fell for it. There's like, hey, do this and then press that and do this, and then you can be part of the show. I'm like, I want to be part of the show. But it was fun. It was really good. Of course, it was a packed crowd. And Aztecs did what they do, which is they go to another team's offense and they turn off the water. They just go, what do you want to do? You can't do it anymore. Now what are you going to do? The Boise State offense is predicated on all these ball screens. Their all-conference forward always sets one at the top of the key, and the point guard runs around it, and then they make choices off that. They have a decision tree, and the Aztecs just shut it all down. They just shut it all down. Eventually, Tyson Degenhart got his average, got like 17 points, but he got blocked like 5 times along the way as he tried to fight his way to some points. Outside shots weren't there. Really nothing was there for Boise State. They just couldn't score. And so, the Aztecs did their thing where for 8 minutes they've got 11 points, but it's 11-9.
Yeah.
Because they've held the other team to nothing at all. And then they finally, Nick Boyd just got lit up. It was almost like someone just activated him and turned a key. And about 8-9 minutes into the game, he just started driving to the hole, and dribble penetration layup over and over again, able to break down the defense over and over again. Outside shots weren't really falling for San Diego State on Saturday night, but it didn't matter. They got out to that double-digit lead. They kept throttling the Broncos' offense. Magoon Guath had 6 blocked shots. Mm-hmm. He had back-to-back on Degenhart down low where he got him. Ball came down loose, got him again. A third time he pinned him on the board. Just like the rudest blocked shot you could ever have. So just to take it and just go, stick it on the board and then just peel it off like it's a piece of gum. Guath, I still think Guath is going to the NBA next year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think he is.
Yeah.
Because kids that good are hard to find. But we'd been asking for it for a while, Annie. And not us, not specifically us, but Aztecs fans have been asking for it for a while.
Yeah, Nick Boyd, right? I mean,
yeah,
he was just spectacular.
He was really, really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Miles wasn't. He was quiet. He only hit 1 3 on the night. He was missing from outside early. He was kind of a mostly non-factor. Jared Coleman-Jones had a great reverse dunk on the baseline, got everyone going. James's buddy Conan out of his seat, pumping his fist.
Right.
James couldn't be less interested. Just, okay.
Yeah, I was reading in the UT how the halftime speech from the last game, game, right? Was
from McKinney,
From McKinney, right. Just was absolutely, something that they feel like has helped with this turnaround in the sense of just, players only meeting and guys kind of laying it out there and what they needed to do to turn the season around, and seems to have at least struck a chord. And for this game, I mean, it was good for them to not have that big come from behind win, right? Like to just go ahead and take care of business.
Yeah. And they did. They took care of business. They beat a good team, solid, well-coached team, solid program, took care of business. Boise State, honestly, after the first 5 minutes of the game, they didn't do anything the rest of the game. The rest of the game, they were completely just shut off until, maybe the last couple of minutes when you start to substitute and everyone knows the game's over. Other than that, nothing for the Broncos. So that's great for the Aztecs because whether they are listed on, as Braden's been saying, the first line of last 4 in.
That's where they jumped to. They jumped 1 spot.
Right. That's still a danger zone. There's nothing safe about being anywhere in the last 4 in. That's 4 conference tournaments going another way, and you're out of there. Mm-hmm. So I think the most important thing, straightforward for San Diego State, is just start playing well. You've already built that belief in yourself. Whether Wayne McKinney circled the wagons in halftime in the locker room at San Jose State and got this team to start believing in itself, they have now played 3 consecutive halves of quality basketball.
Yeah.
And they hadn't really put 2 halves of quality basketball together in quite some time. So they've made it 3 now. Can they make it 5 by doing it tonight against Fresno State and putting a great first half out there and then backing it up with a great second half and stomping Fresno State? I know, Braden, it's not going to help them in the rankings to win. But
no, they're losing points tonight for sure.
Yeah, no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah, according to the RPI. We don't have the net direct impact games, but San Diego State win will drop them 69 points in the RPI, and a loss would drop them 198 points in the RPI. They'll get some positive points out of the Nevada-Colorado State game. If Air Force wins tonight over Wyoming, they can get some points. And then, of course, Houston beating up on Arizona State would be good news, but that's only an additional 1.4 points in RPI. It's actually more beneficial for the Aztecs to win for UCSD than it is for San Diego State. UCSD gets 2.5 points in RPI boost if San Diego State wins compared to the Aztecs losing 69 points. It does make sense. This is how you do strength of schedule, and playing lousy teams, you'll never move up in the rankings. It's the same thing with high school football and the rankings that we have. When we play very, very bad teams, we lose points, and when we play good teams and even lose, you gain points. It really it incentivizes playing good teams and doing well against good teams and not loading up your schedule against teams which is not their fault because they're in the conference, but Fresno State, who's 5-21 and 1-14 in the Mountain West Conference.
Right. Yeah. But this is all baked in. At the beginning of the year, you knew what your overall strength of schedule is going to be, right?
That's why, you have an idea. That's why the good thing about San Diego State on their own page, if you look at it on Warren Nolan, is their non-conference RPI is very high. Their non-conference strength of schedule is 11th best. They got an 11 out of 360 however many teams, and their regular strength of schedule is 58. That just shows you how much the conference knocks them down. And when you schedule, and that's why San Diego State's schedule is very tough at the beginning of the year, you account for the fact that we're going to lose points in conference play because we're going to lose some games just because it's hard to win conference games in college athletics, and the teams that are in our conference are going to, win or lose, going to bring us down. I see it in college baseball all the time. You see it in college basketball. That's why you have schools in like the Big 12 not scheduling very difficult in the beginning part of the year because they know they got it in the back of the schedule with their conference. And then schools like an Irvine or a San Diego State or some of the schools in the West Coast Conference, they have to load up their schedule like a Gonzaga. Otherwise, because they know they're just going to, when they get to conference play, just start plummeting down the RPI list.
Well, the way that you solve that is by playing really well during the time that you are losing your RPI points by playing bad teams. That way the committee goes, oh, well, yeah, they lost RPI points, but look how well they played. Unfortunately, San Diego State, well, they bollocksed that. It didn't happen. They wound up playing poorly during the stretch of time that they were losing RPI points. And now, honestly, I'm going to stay with the same attitude, which is if they get an at-large berth at the end of the year, I'm pleasantly surprised. But I'm not counting on it. I think the Aztecs need to win the Mountain West tournament. I think they need to start thinking that way. It kind of like ditch the privilege on the side of the road and be like, nope, we have to fight for it. And if you keep that mentality and you build up momentum and you roll into the tournament, and then maybe you do lose a game in the tournament, at least you've given the committee something to really think about. Look at SDSU. They ended on a roll. They ended winning 8 in a row. They got to the semifinals. Yeah, they lost on a three-pointer at the end or whatever, but this is a team that's moving with momentum. 4-4 down the stretch, and then you lose in the tournament. You can kiss your postseason goodbye. Yeah. It's done.
I think if they split with Utah State, New Mexico, and they make it to the semis of the Mountain West tournament, they're probably in. Assuming they take care of business against everybody else, which includes Fresno State tonight. I think the win against Boise State and the way they won gives them a little bit of sigh of relief because that's another team that's a bubble team. That's a good win for them. Latest bracketology, as mentioned before, the good news is San Diego State still last 4 in, and they got some room in front of them with some schools, so hopefully they could move out of that and get a last 4 bye, which I think they're in more than capable of doing. The good news for the Big West is Irvine has now appeared in the next 4 out, which means either them or UCSD being around the bubble is good for a potential 2-team bid league. The thing that's interesting is like in the net, UC Irvine's way down the list. They're like in the 40s. In the RPI, they're 26. They're 26 in the country in the RPI. So it's interesting the different metrics when it comes to these things. But Irvine's now in the next 4 out, which is good for the Big West, and UCSD's moved up to an 11 seed as an automatic qualifier. So that bodes well for both Irvine and UCSD. They have an excerpt from the Bubble Watch about both. They got UCSD at a 63% of making the NCAA tournament, which is the first time at above 60%. That's not accounting for winning the conference. They got Irvine at 42%, so they're trending in the right direction. And if they both can go undefeated and then play each other in the championship, there might be 2 Big West schools in the NCAA tournament, which I think is more deserving than a North Carolina who continues to plummet and are still ranked in front of both of them in the bubble.
Well, I'm rooting for UCI because once UCSD beats them in the Big West Championship, I don't want to see them out of a tournament berth.
I think both
I'd
teams
love to see the Zots make it.
They've both deserved to be in the tournament.
Once the Tritons win and make it, then I'll root for Irvine. Okay, let's take a timeout. We're back with the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Hear what Eric Greupner had to say next. Padres Deep Dive Hour begins on Annie and Elsten. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com. Get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Go ahead, do that thing. Do it. Annie Halbern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano, coming to you on 97.3 FM radio. Welcome, radio listeners. Coming to you on the Odyssey app, streaming worldwide, AUDACY. Don't forget, if you're there, stay there for an hour. You will generate a daily entry into the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest and an opportunity to go to Circa and Stadium Swim for you and three buddies with $20,000 cash for the first two rounds of the Hoops tournament. You know that thing coming up in March.
It's getting closer.
That's why it gets
You're
longer.
playing longer.
That's right.
I felt it. We got all the way to the
extra
end.
seconds.
We got all the way to the end of the first little riff.
It's funny you said
There.
actual radio listeners. Last night, I filled on a softball team, and one of the guys playing was like asking me about. I gave one of my buddies on the team a shout out on the Scraby show the other day.
Yeah.
When I was filling in with Scraby for the afternoon show, and he posted it on his social media, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, that's super cool. Like you have a show or whatever like that." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm on the." He's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I talk on the radio." And so we're talking about this, and he's like, "So what's your? It's like just on YouTube, or like, are you on the actual radio?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'm on 97.3 The Fan. Like the actual,
radio.
you can actually listen in your car on the radio from this time to this time." And he was just so like mind
away.
blown.
Yeah.
That the guy was like a Padres fan, and he just had no idea. I was like, "Do you ever listen to the Padres on the radio?" He's like, "Sometimes, I guess, but not. I don't really know." He was like,
What's a radio? What's a
"Are you on
newspaper?
the actual
What's
radio?"
a TV channel?
Got to be like in his mid-30s too. It's not like he was, some kid. I just thought that was so fun. I'm like, "Yeah, that's what the 97.3."
97.3.
You think those just some random numbers we put together?
Yeah, just some weird, it adds up to 19. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Tony Gwynn thing.
Well, if you have 97 and you add 3, it's 100.
Well, that too.
Maybe.
And we keep it 100
That's right.
Yeah.
here
yeah.
at 97
Yeah.
plus
On
3.
the radio.
The Fan.
We
Or 9
exist
plus
on the
7
radio.
plus 3 equals 19. Go, Tony.
Yeah, you can also watch it on YouTube. But it's not just a YouTube show.
Yeah.
You can listen in your car.
9 plus 7 plus 0.3 does not fit any of our narratives. We move on. Okay, time for the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Let's dig into some Eric Greupner here. Eric Greupner spoke to the assembled media this morning, and I've only gotten a chance to, during a commercial break, listen to a snippet of a couple of these. So this will be a voyage of discovery, I think, for all of us. And Braden, you can be our tour guide on this voyage as to where we shall go first.
Well, if you look out the window to the left, you will see Eric Greupner talking about the challenges of giving the club the resources they need, given the increases in salaries of exiting players, and when John Seidler will speak publicly was the first thing that he was asked about. And here's Eric Greupner.
Resources they need, and obviously the payroll is high. You've signed some guys for low dollars recently, but can you speak to that, of how the challenge of giving them the resources they need, given all the salaries that went up?
Yeah, our payroll's gone up significantly year over year, and we have been pursuing a long-term plan that was set several years ago, and we're continuing to execute against that plan, and we're exactly where we had expected to be from a payroll perspective going into this year, and we feel like we're at a level, likely end up being a top 10 payroll in baseball that is sufficient from a resource perspective to go out and win a World Series championship. And that's a commitment that we've made for several years now to our fan base, is that we would consistently put a team on the field that could compete for the playoffs and a World Series championship. I know that was important to Peter and remains important to us as an organization, that we put a team on the field year in and year out that can compete for a World Series championship. So to your point, I feel like we have the resources, the level of payroll, the veteran leadership, and a lot of great young players that are contributing early in their career. And I think we have a team, like you saw last year, that's capable of going out and accomplishing our goal.
No offense to you, but usually there's someone standing next to you.
Mm-hmm.
When might we hear from him?
Yeah, so John Seidler was approved by Major League Baseball as our next control person, and will become the chairman after the passage, as it's been reported by you and others, of a 30-day period. So you'll hear from him and have an opportunity to ask him questions, get to know him better before opening day. Once that 30-day period is passed, that'll be early to mid-March. And we're incredibly excited to have John step into that position. You know, he's been part of the ownership group since 2012. I've known him for 13 years. I've spent a lot of time with him at Padres games and in Padres ownership meetings. And he's got a love for San Diego. He's got a love for this franchise and a love for baseball. And he's excited to step into that role and continue what his brother Peter was leading for so many years for the ownership group that he's a part of, and ultimately deliver that World Series championship to San Diego.
All right. There's clip number 1 from Eric Greupner.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Pretty standard stuff.
standard stuff. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, John Seidler will speak in a few weeks, and he's committed. Cool. Great. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, John is essentially Greupner's new boss.
right.
So,
Fair. Yes. So, right. I was going to say nice things, of course.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he believes the nice things, but I'm saying that's who he will report to now, just like he reported to Peter or to Ron Fowler or to, I guess, Eric Xander. So, it's good if they're in lockstep.
More importantly, probably at the beginning, words have been backed up by actions. When you say you're committed to putting a team on the field that is capable, and I think that's important verbiage, that is capable of winning a championship, doesn't mean that you're putting the highest payroll or the best team, but a team that's good enough. He said, we've got the resources, and they have shown that by signing Nick Pivetta, by taking the payroll over $200 million, by taking their CBT figure almost to $260 million for the year. They have shown and demonstrated that those words are real. Okay, let's go to.
I think he was asked about the CBT somewhere.
Well, let's roll into clip 2, Groupaloo.
This is him talking about, they asked him whether or not they needed to talk to the players about the ongoing litigation. This is his answer.
Okay.
Eric, did you guys feel the need to address the situation of what's going on with Schilt with the players today, especially since obviously some of them have a relationship with her?
Yeah, we had most of our players together during our Fan Fest several weeks ago, and we had an opportunity at that time to speak just at a high level about what had been reported publicly around the dispute, and really just letting the players know what I've told you today, which is it's not impacting the way that we operate. Nothing has changed, and our leadership is stable. Our focus remains the same. And that was the message, nothing more than that. And, we don't want to have to put our players or anybody, other than really me and ownership representatives in a position to have to speak to that. And so that was the message. I'll speak to that. We'll handle that. There's others outside the organization that are handling it. But it's business as usual for everybody else, including the players.
Speaking to that, how challenging has what's been going on with the lawsuits been on this organization?
It hasn't really been challenging from a day-to-day operational perspective for all the reasons that I've shared. Really, the focus has remained the same. Nothing has changed with the people that are full-time in our front office. Nothing's going to change in the near future with that. And so we've just had a team that's continued to execute consistently in a way that we have in the past, and it really has not been a disruption. And we're very focused as an organization making sure it doesn't become a disruption. And I think once we start playing baseball games, it's going to be even easier to avoid any, distraction. What our fans really care about is, are we committed to putting a winning team on the field that is exciting and can compete for a World Series championship? And can they come to a ballpark, have a great experience, and make memories with their friends and family? And we're going to continue to deliver that. And that's, I think, what really matters. And when we start playing baseball games, I think our fans are going to see that we have an exciting team. Hopefully we stay healthy and can compete at a high level. Petco Park's still a great place to come and enjoy a baseball game. And those are the things we're focused on.
Honestly, I think that's a perfect answer. I mean, it's exactly what he's exactly right. That's what Padres fans want. That's all Padres fans want. A winning team, a good experience. They're committed to delivering that. They're living up to that commitment so far. And I'm very appreciative of that answer.
Yeah, Yeah. I think again, kind of standard stuff, and answering the question, and should be still a good experience for Padres fans.
Yeah, not dodging anything, in other words. There wasn't any hem-haw there. It was very straightforward. Let's hear the next one.
Yeah,
oh no. I don't like when Twitter just likes to play random, like the videos when they're not selected, just in the background. So that was not the one that I wanted. Here's Eric Greupner talking about the possibility of, should be very quick, about the possibility of the Padres being sold or moved.
Okay.
Can you any possibility of this team being sold?
I have been told multiple times that the team is not for sale and will not be sold. The Seidler family has viewed this team as a generational asset. Peter spoke about that. The rest of his family has continued to speak about that. This team is not going to be relocated. This team is not going to be sold. The commitment remains to keep this team in the current ownership that it's in right now, and continue to run it the way we've been running it.
I guess my question about that is if no one knows how the lawsuit is going to turn out, and if there was a situation where Schilt Seidler had to sell her shares, although maybe she would refuse to do that, maybe she wanted to be bought out, you'd have to find someone to buy out all those shares, and those are significant, but sometimes things like that force a sale, but he's saying it's not going to be sold, so maybe that has all been discussed in the background and sounds like it's been put to bed.
Maybe they feel confident that they have the facts on their side in the lawsuit.
Yes. I just like going forward for everyone to hold on to their shares, I guess is an unknown going forward.
Sure.
But sure, maybe that's what they've been talking about. So that's great.
Yeah, and if a piece of the team is sold, but it's not the controlling piece, then I guess that stays true.
I guess that, there would be a non-sale.
Well, but the 24%, if that 24 or 25, that's significant. I mean, you'd have to find someone with the funds to
unless they want to
take over that majority. No one else has the highest share, so you'd have to either
they'd have to buy her out,
piece that out,
or
and
go find it, or start selling it to other people.
Someone else gets like a majority, or Alfredo Harp-Halou, I guess, has the majority. But I guess that's kick the can down the road, man. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe Schilt already knows she would never sell her shares, and this is all just. Eric Greupner knows more than I do. That's for sure.
That's all the litigation stuff. We do have more on CBT and baseball things. We should do that when we come back.
Yeah, let's take a break, and we'll hear more from Eric Greupner. We also have Xander, Jackson Merrill, and later live Sam Levitt. All still to come. Lots of Padres content for you here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This segment, we'll be giving away a 4-pack of tickets to a Padres spring training game at Peoria Sports Complex, so stay tuned. Also, stay tuned Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for Inside San Diego Baseball with Sam Levitt. Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on 97.3 The Fan and on our YouTube page. Sam talking all things Padres baseball, live from spring training, keeping you up to date on everything. Check it out. Sam, you'll be joining us live at 1 o'clock today from Padres spring training. However, he's on live Wednesday, 7 to 9 as well. So stay tuned. That's coming up tomorrow night. Okay. Andy and Elsten back with you, and we're going through Eric Greupner's press conference this morning in Peoria. We heard him talk about ownership, lawsuit stuff. What's next up? CBT is next?
That is correct.
All right,
Here we
cool.
are.
Here we go.
You're projected to be well above the luxury tax line. What is the team's thought on potentially paying that tax at the end of the year?
Yeah, we currently are projected to be a CBT payor this year, and we've been there in prior years. Too early to say where we end up. A lot of things can change over the course of a year. Things may even change between now and opening day, but obviously there's a willingness that if that's what it takes to put together a competitive team that we think can accomplish the goals that we have as an organization, we would be willing to do that this year. And I think that's just a further commitment and, really proof in the pudding type moment for the fan base that, we mean what we say. We're not backing away from the plan to try to win a World Series championship, and we're doing everything we possibly can, putting every resource we can into fielding a competitive team that can compete for that championship.
In the short term, there's been a lot said and written about cash flow, current cash flow. Where does that stand? I mean, there's been a lot of, obviously, creative deals to seemingly limit some of the money being spent right now.
Yeah, look, every year is different. Every off season is different. And we are right now at a point when we look to operate the team where, we feel that we can support the level that we're at right now with payroll. And, any team looks into the coming years and you look at what contracts are coming off and what long-term commitments you've made, and you may manage payroll from a cash perspective differently from year to year just based on some of those factors, and it's nothing different. AJ's and his team, Josh Stein, are particularly good at doing that. And, so anything that you've seen around, structuring deals or the way that we've engineered the deals that have been put in place have been with a long-term view of remaining competitive as a franchise and also being as competitive as we can this year.
Cool.
Proof's in the pudding, as he said, for the fans. He's absolutely right. The proof's in the pudding. Now, he also did say in there it could change again before opening day, which supports the still in baseball theory that a trade of a Dylan Cease could happen in the spring, that it still could happen. He didn't shut that out with that comment. He did. There's intentionality in everything he's saying in this press conference. He's measuring his words. So the fact that he said that means at some level that torch is still alive. Well,
and also it could change depending on if the team isn't where they want to be by the trade deadline and they move people and the CBT changes, in a more favorable position, I guess, for the Padres. But of course, you don't want to be in that position. So, I think everything's still on the table.
I mean, I guess, Braden, you could argue that he could be saying that they could be adding payroll between here and opening day.
You could, but the next clip is, does AJ probably need to shed more payroll?
Oh, well, okay.
And here's what Eric Greupner had to say.
Here we go. Next answer.
About that.
Padres fans had to watch the Dodgers sign everybody this offseason and then hear rumors the Padres trying to trade Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Suarez to get under payroll. Does AJ need to cut any more payroll, or are you guys in a sustainable spot where you are right now?
Yeah, I think AJ's spoken to the fact that our goal is to be at or around the payroll level that we're at right now and field a competitive and complete roster. And so I think if we've learned one thing about AJ over the years, including as recently as last year, spring training doesn't mean that the roster's set, right? And so I think he's going to continue, I know he's going to continue to work to try to complete this roster in a way where we can go out and have the most complete competitive team possible. That may mean acquiring additional players. It may mean additional transactions that bring us players that are not on the roster right now. So, there's no way to know yet where that all is going to net out. But I do think the moves that you've seen over the last couple of weeks, I think, have signaled pretty clearly to our fan base what has been true all offseason long. We just don't talk publicly about payroll. We're not out talking about who we're going to sign. It's a competitive advantage that we keep that within the walls of our discussions in our front office. And so we're not going to be out there during the offseason projecting what exact payroll we think we're going to end up at. We've just been out there doing what the market has brought to us, and that's what AJ's particularly good at. And as it was last year, some of the players that we've been most interested in, Pavetta being one of them, have come to us towards the end of the offseason. And so, we feel good about our roster right now, and I feel good about a GM who's going to continue to try to refine it and make it even better going into opening day.
I think the main thing from there was the sentence or two in the beginning, which is we expect the payroll to be around $200 million.
Yeah, around where it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're probably at the spot of dollar in, dollar out now. If you added a lot, you'd probably want to subtract.
I would think so. Yeah.
A similar amount.
Take
he's
that,
kind of
Harold
saying
Reynolds.
like there are constraints without saying there are constraints, because why not then go up to $215 million or $220 million or $230 million or $250 million? So around $200 million is where they feel their best competitive advantage is.
Here is the there's a couple other ones on there if you want to check them out. They're on our Twitter page at 97.3 The Fan SD. Talks a little bit about Don Orsillo. He talks what Padres fans should expect from John Seidler. But kind of the recurring theme of this particular segment he's talking about, he was asked then what is a realistic payroll figure for the Padres moving forward, which is along the lines of what we're kind of discussing here. And here's what Eric Greupner had to say.
Payroll's fluctuated pretty significantly the last 3 years, from 250 to 170, maybe around 200 now. Can you just speak to what is a realistic sort of payroll figure for the Padres moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. And we've said for years that we increased payroll and spending to give our fans and our city an opportunity to do something we've never done before, but that ultimately we knew long-term the sustainability of that payroll was going to be determined by the fan support and the level of revenue we've been able to generate in our market. We remain one of the smallest media markets in baseball, yet despite that, our fans have been amazing, and they've supported this team, and we owe them an incredible debt of gratitude. And we're at a level right now with our payroll where we're putting everything that we have that we can generate in our market into this team. And for that to be a top 10 payroll is pretty amazing, considering the size of our market when it comes to the media market. And I think it's just once again a testament to how amazing our fans are and the way that they've been showing up and supporting this team. But we feel like once again we have the resources in place to go out and compete for a World Series championship at the payroll level that we're at right now. And AJ has continued to do, really an outstanding job building the roster and finding ways to put together a team that we think can be highly competitive.
So he alludes to market size and that, and that stuff we've talked about on this show, and other shows have as well, and kind of the working within the revenue that they can generate within this market size, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And I know that there's some folks out there who, because they've heard him say that before, that just go, okay, we're debt of gratitude to our fans, da-da-da. But I kind of look at that a little differently, and I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, the virtuous cycle. To me, he's just saying it in a different way. The same thing I've said is what he's saying in a different way, which is we invest in the team, you invest in us, we invest it back in the team. And it's a virtuous cycle. Instead of a vicious cycle that it keeps getting worse, it's a virtuous cycle. The more you believe in us, the more we reinvest back into the club. Then you believe in the club even more. You invest even more. We invest it back. And as long as everyone feels the trust of that circle, that they feel that their money is going back into the team, which I think the last week definitely reinvigorated those feelings and thoughts, then it's a wonderful situation. And I think that what he's simply saying is, as this continues, so shall our commitment.
I would just say to that, though, that I would not want to blame fans for not, if something were to go south, it would be, I think, wrong to put the onus on fans to then change things for the Padres to make it better. The Padres still need to try to make things better, regardless of if fans are coming to the ballpark, fans are not coming to the ballpark. But, so in terms of just kind of like keeping that responsibility on their side, But look, yeah, I mean, I'm sure the gate revenue has helped. It can't hurt, right? To have those sellouts that you have every night that should hopefully help them get to that $200 million.
Last thing for you, because we have time to do this before we have to go to our break,
Yes.
is the TV contract.
Oh,
so
yes,
here's the latest on the
absolutely.
TV.
Here we go.
This will be the last of the Eric Greupner that we played today.
What is the latest on the TV situation, and how much of a challenge has it been to try and get the games on television like that?
Yeah, I think the decline of the regional sports network business model has been written about extensively by Alden and others, and it has impacted us in San Diego, no doubt. We are confident that we're maximizing the opportunity that we have in our market through partnering with MLB Media at this time. And we've made our games available to more fans in more ways than it ever has been before. And in fact, we hope to announce soon a package of Saturday games that'll be made available over the air, free of charge as well, simulcast this year. And so one of the silver linings of the decline of kind of the traditional media model has been it's allowed us to make our games more available than ever before without local market blackout to our fans during a period of years when there's been a high demand for this team because we've been playing exciting winning baseball. So we're going to make our way through it, but once again, confident that we're getting the very most that we can out of the opportunity in our market, and that's only been possible through the partnership with MLB Media.
And obviously it's great for the fans, but no sport relies more on TV deals, local TV deals, than baseball. How much of a challenge has that been, and where do you guys find a balance in trying to make that money up elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's not a ton of options out there right now. The decline in that business model has impacted everybody, right? And when I say everybody that runs an RSN that has been a traditional buyer of media rights. There's not a lot of options out there right now, of third parties that are bidding for media rights. And so to have MLB Media as an option where we can get our games out there to more of our fans and still generate the maximum amount of revenue we can generate in our media market has been great. Now, I think long term, that business landscape is going to continue to evolve and change. And I know it's got the commissioner's attention at the highest levels of baseball about how, as an industry, we continue to navigate the changing media landscape. And I'm confident in his leadership that we're going to find the best solution, intermediate and long term. But right now, we're doing the best with what we have.
Okay, let's translate that. Not to say that there was anything disingenuous in there, just, he's speaking in a very careful way. What he is saying is, there's no one's coming through that door. No one is walking through that door to offer the San Diego Padres big-time millions for a television contract. He said 3 different times, the buying market isn't there. There's no options there. So when he praises MLB Media for getting the most that they can, what he's saying is, we've got no choice, MLB Media. When he says at the end of the clip, medium and long term, it's in the commissioner's hands, he's talking about the upcoming battle along the lines of the new CBA.
Yeah.
Will the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers agree to put everything into one pot? If that ever happens, that will change the Padres' scenario significantly. Until that happens, they're going to be last of the line. They're going to be one of the lowest revenue television markets or television teams in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, the big ask is going to be that with that CBT, and this is like eating up the top office of baseball. I mean, no matter what is said publicly from the commissioner's office, this is a huge issue for them, and trying to figure out how they're going to raise their TV revenues enough that you can sell a multi-billion-dollar package to places like Amazon or whatever, ESPN or whoever ends up buying it, and then disperse that money to the club in a way that they make a lot more, significantly more than they make now, is a huge challenge that no one has figured out yet, and they've got to try to figure out. I think it's interesting to see like what the Rangers did this year. That's going to be an experiment that I know I want to follow. You saw the Cardinals and the Brewers leave. First, they signed up with MLB Media, just like the Padres and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are. Then they said, no, we're going back to FanDuel Sports because they got some money paid back into their pocket. Totally understand that. They're going to get more money than if they were with MLB Media, even if FanDuel Sports, the new Bally's, is going to eventually shut down. Then they'll make the move probably to MLB Media. But the Rangers did something interesting where they said, look, we looked at MLB media and we realized that we can make more doing it on our own. And they started an in-house broadcast network. They made over $100 million from Bally's and FanDuel throughout their contract. They took a 10% pay cut their last year with Bally's to 96, I believe, 94 and 96. And their president of baseball, or their CEO or whatever, came out and said, we think we can match what we made with Bally's, that $96 million, by doing it in-house. And so they're not affiliated with MLB Media. They've taken it up on their own, and they're paying for everything, doing it all on their own, but they feel like they're in control of their destiny. They can raise things. The ceiling is higher because of that. Now, they're in a different market. We can get into all that.
Much bigger market.
Right, bigger market. Brandon knows.
Yeah, the DFW market's massive.
Yeah, but that's kind of where teams are, and it just depends on your market and how much you kind of want to roll the dice as well. But they believe that they're going to make as much, if not more, by doing it in-house.
The interesting thing is when Greupner said some Saturday games potentially be over the air, which means it would be a local news station would be airing the games like
I wonder who
Channel
that
4
is,
used
right.
to do,
Maybe
right? So who knows if it's across the street at NBC or if it's KUSI or if it's CBS or Fox or whatever it is. But that's very intriguing too. That'd be cool for a lot of people that, over the air free. On Saturdays.
I remember
Saturday Night Baseball.
I remember over a year ago hearing that was going to be the case, and then it never happened last year.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if that would just be taking the actual broadcast and just putting it on another channel, probably right. Yeah, not using like other broadcasters or anything like that.
No,
the
right?
broadcast would be the same, right? Because they're employed by the Padres.
Yeah.
So it'd just be like maybe the graphics change to be a little flair for like the local news.
It sounds like those will be free because they'll be on your local cable.
Yeah,
so.
get on from it, get it with an antenna.
Well, that's good. It's good to hear.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I literally need to go buy a pair of rabbit ears because about the only thing that my giant matrix of things
Streaming
I buy
everything.
for streaming channels and whatever, like about the only things I miss is like over the air Fox, over the air ABC.
You can get one that is like a sticker that attaches to your window that you can plug into your TV. One of my friends had one of those in Texas.
Done.
Yeah, it's easier than actually old school rabbit ears and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, wait a second, there's a free sports package out there. All I have to do is buy this.
That's right.
I could watch World
Just need
Cup
an
and the
antenna.
Super Bowl and
Yeah.
all these great things.
Hope you got a
Holy
good
cow.
signal that day.
What do you know? What's old is new again.
Exactly. Isn't that always the case, right?
It is. Let's take a time out. We'll hear from Xander Bogaerts when we come back on the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:42 on the Fan. Padres Deep Dive Hour here on Annie and Elsten. We're going to hear from Xander Bogaerts momentarily. First, we remind you to listen for the Slam Dunk in Vegas National Contest, your chance at the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. Just download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to 97.3 The Fan at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into this national contest. Grand prize, travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circuit Resort and Casinos. That's Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination, where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim plus 20,000 cash. Stay tuned. Keep listening. If you just started listening, set a timer. Make sure you listen for an hour. 59 minutes would be a sad mistake.
No, don't sell yourself short.
Go 61 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're safe.
Yeah,
Better
do the
yet-
extra minute or two just to be safe.
Yeah,
right?
better yet, stay there all day, and then you're
Yeah, we'd love
definitely
that.
safe. Definitely safe in that situation. Okay, from Eric Greupner, and a very positive appearance at Peoria and Padres spring training.
Yeah, good to hear. I mean, normally you get like whether it was Ron Fowler or Peter Seidler or Eric Katsenda, but you heard him there. You know, they can't have John Seidler talk until that 30 days is up. So good to have Eric Greupner out there speaking with the media.
Yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Positive appearance. Now let's hear from Xander Bogaerts. This is courtesy of Sammy in the Padres clubhouse before the players went out to hit and run and do all their, spring trainee things this morning. Xander in a nice knit cap. What do we have from him first?
Sim helping out DeVries and some of the younger guys.
Okay.
Sure, locker next to Leo, who's kind of up and coming and everything else. How do you kind of, as a veteran, teach him the ways and bring him along to get to where you are now in your career?
I've been in this position quite some times, with the Red Sox, so kind of know how to deal with that. It's very nice to see my locker next to him. I mean, we share the same position, so definitely a lot of stuff that I can help him with. Seems like a kid that wants to learn. I remember a couple years ago I had Merrill. He's in the outfield now. He's doing a heck of a job for us out there. But, this kid, I played with him in a couple rehab games, and, to me, he seems like he was a real deal, so hopefully that continues.
You mentioned rehab games. Health has been something that's kind of eluded you the last couple of years. Do anything different this offseason to maybe keep the body where it's supposed to be?
Maybe I pray a little bit more, But I just feel great, I feel great. Changed my off-season stuff for just a little bit. But I feel great. Just a couple of weird injuries, these last couple of years. But part of baseball, I really try my best to keep my body in shape, and sometimes you have these freak incidents, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah, when Xander Bogaerts returned from his rehab assignment last year, and he had played with Leo Dallas DeVries during that time, he spoke so highly of. He was like, he's way better than I was at his age, and way more ahead of the game. And of course, what does that mean, right? You've got to keep it up if you're Leo Dallas DeVries, and you've got to be able to do it at the big league level, which is something Xander's proven he can do. But it's really on Leo. It's on Leo to ask Xander the questions and to want to learn from him and the other guys in the clubhouse as much as possible. But Xander is a willing participant in that if you go to him and want to learn.
All right, clip 2, Xander Bogaerts.
Xander Bogaerts talking about playing shortstop and going back to playing shortstop as to playing second base last year.
Okay.
This time last year, things were a little bit different. You were getting ready to learn second base. Now you're back at shortstop, your natural position where you've been for a long time. How did that impact both your off season and I suppose your mindset entering this spring?
I played shortstop so long, as a kid in the big leagues for a long time, so it's just more natural, Second base, I had to learn on the fly. It was a little bit tough in the beginning. Throughout the season, it was a little tough. My body's getting used to different angles and different motions, and I had to adjust to that. It wasn't the easiest thing, but I was up for it, and as I said, I tried my best, I think I actually did a pretty good job over there defensively. You can always be better, but I actually think I did pretty good. So hopefully I can go back at short and be myself.
Is it nice to have that kind of off your plate, having to learn a new spot as you begin to start a new season?
I think it makes it a little bit easier on my body, just going back at short. I haven't had any issues physically thankfully, over there at short since I'm back. So hopefully it continues. As I said, I just probably didn't have enough time to learn second base last year. If I would have had the offseason, it would have been different, but learning it in spring training, learning on the fly, I think my body was just a little bit not adjusted to it as quickly as we would have wanted, but we managed it. We went through it, and I mean, we had a really good year as a team last year. Individually, I definitely could have been better, but this year is a new year.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting beyond this discussion because Xander really did not play well the first 2 months of the season. Defensively, he was fine at second base, but then this became a talking point. And you know how it is, Andy, when something's a talking point, here it is, it's the next year, February 18th, and it's still being talked about. Well, was the move to second base hurting you offensively? Was it this? Was it that? Are you happier now that you're a shortstop and not a second baseman? The bottom line is he has to hit.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to Xander for a long time last year about this, and he talked a little bit about the position change affecting how his body felt comfortable, and that may have shown up in his offense, in the way that his body was sore, the way that his body was reacting. I mean, those are things that he's not going to put the excuse on. He's going to also say, I need to hit, and he has said that. But I think that that's kind of the, sometimes defense does affect offense in weird ways, but it, for him this year, should be a lot more comfortable. And like you said, just knowing where he's going to play, I think will make a big difference.
Let's hope that that is the case. If nothing else, the Padres were proactive in talking to him about this year. He knew all winter that he was going to be the shortstop. It wasn't a, hey, welcome in.
Yeah.
Come on into the office for a second.
It wasn't
chat to you real quick.
An hour after you get to spring training.
Yeah,
hey, we're switching positions, and you have to learn it while you're doing everything else you need to do in spring training and getting yourself ready and mentally and physically. And some guys take to that better than others. And I think for him, he's got. I think he also knows that was last year, and then now this year, there's really no turning back, right? Like you said, you've got to produce.
All right, what's next?
Last one on Xander Bogaerts, talking about former teammate of his, Nick Pivetta, joining the Pods.
Yes.
New teammates, what do you think on the Nick Pivetta signing?
Yeah, my guy, Nicky P, huh? I mean, he's a dog. I played with him
Kawhi Leonard
years with
left.
the Red Sox. See him.
Yeah, it was.
When we traded for him from the Phillies. He was in the minors, and he got an opportunity with us in the big leagues. He did a really good job. He gives you a lot of innings. That's a guy that throws a lot of pitches for the most part. He's always healthy. Hopefully that stays that way. But he just gives you a lot of innings, and gets you pretty deep in the bullpen, and hopefully he can continue having that success here.
There was some consternation in the offseason from Padres fans about the team not making these big splashy moves they were used to. How much do you, Manny, Fernando, put on yourselves to really produce the way the team expects you guys to?
I think we come in every year with the same thought, the same mindset, us as players. I think everyone, if it's an all-star player, if it's a bench player, anything. I feel like you can contribute in the best way that you can. You probably go out there and do that to the best of your abilities. But I think us, guys like me, we always have that high expectation for ourselves. We just try to go out there and do the best that we can to our abilities, and hopefully that's enough,
You went through a lot last year. How confident do you feel health-wise? I know Manny, Fernando, of course, saying they feel as healthy as they have in a long time. How do you feel? How much does it help your confidence that you can be that player?
I feel healthy. I think coming in the spring last year also, I was pretty much healthy. Learning that new position was just a little bit different for me, and as I said, I thought it would have been much easier, but I think learning it was easy, but the physical aspect of it, the recovery of my body, just doing the different movements, I think that's what got the best of me last year in spring and lingered throughout the season for a little bit. Just different spots getting hurt that you don't normally have while dealing at short.
Well, there it is again. So, it's a no excuses year for Xander Bogaerts, plain and simple.
And we were talking before the show, the three of us, about how there was an article that was in the Union Tribune from Kevin Acee where Xander essentially said, they're paying me for these years of my contract. I have to perform. I have to do better for this team. These are the years we need to make it to the World Series or have a chance to win. And he needs to be a big part of that. So not shying away from the personal responsibility that he has.
Agreed. And, I think everyone knows it. The writing's on the wall. $25 million in retrospect isn't the biggest commitment in baseball. It's going to be close to a mid-level contract by the time you get 3, 4, 5 years down the road. But 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you're talking about a player who's 35, 36, 37, and now he just needs a higher platform to decline from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he keeps declining from where he is right now, then it's going to be a really unfortunate trade, or deal, I should say. But if he can just take that step up, give you that 5-6 WAR season, that thing that we saw him do so many times in Boston, then, hey, all right, now we've got something that you can build upon in terms of the bulk of his Padres career.
Yeah, he works so hard. He is like the ultimate pro and clubhouse guy that I hope for him. He has a healthy season and he has a very successful season like he's used to, because it would be a huge boost, obviously, for this club, but also for him to just kind of get back on his feet again. And like you said, have a different standard from which he's operating with the Padres.
All right, great stuff today from Eric Greupner, as well as Xander Bogaerts. We'll try to get to some Jackson Merrill sound as the show continues. We will hear from Mike Schilt in our next hour, including the inclusion of Yuli Gurriel at Padres camp. What are they thinking? What does Schilt say about it? I got to go look up any accolades that Yuli Gurriel has won in his career, because I will guarantee you that will be in Mike Schilt's answer. Well, you know, we got ourselves a Gold Glove winner and a 2-time Silver Slugger.
I think they might be in there. I'm not sure. I'm not for certain.
Champion, 2021 batting champion, world champion, Houston Astros. So, you know, he can play a little bit. He can play, and we're going to see what he can do.
And he's there, I believe. I believe Yuli has arrived.
Well, he took King deep.
Oh, that's
in
right.
BP,
That's right. We talked about that. Okay. You're right.
See him take King deep in BP. show you what.
Last time I checked, King's a good pitcher in Major League
Last time I heard.
I can't with these. I just can't with these.
You sound like Foghorn.
play-by-plays
You
of
sound
the-
like
of
Foghorn
the
Leghorn every time you do the Mike Schilt
practices.
impersonation. Nah, say. That's what you sound like. It's kind of
Yuli
like a Mike
Gurriel is a fine player
Schilt,
now. I
Foghorn
say
Leghorn
now.
impersonation.
I say it. I say it. He can hit and he can field as well. Okay, and once again, yes.
Should we be concerned about Michael King? I mean, you know.
You know what?
Is that
Overreaction
is that the new
spring
thing?
training.
Right. I mean.
Maybe
it's a good thing they didn't sign him to a contract
there
extension.
you go again, Annie. You know, the big hitters get paid too, Annie.
That's right.
40-year-olds taking Michael King deep. Cut
No,
him.
everyone. The
Cut
answer is
him.
no. Do not be concerned
Clean out his
about any
locker.
of them. This is spring training.
We've seen
day
enough.
like 3.
Everything's
okay?
good.
Right.
Everything's great.
Can't read too much into any
Cut
of it.
him. I want his locker cleaned out by the end of the day.
Gurriel's?
He's traded.
No, Michael King's
No,
can't be giving up home
King.
runs to 40-year-olds.
Settle down now. Sports Fix next. Your Tuesday Fix brought to you by the Craft Taco. Whether you're craving gourmet tacos for lunch or a craft beer for happy hour, the Craft Taco is the answer. Now open at the Natural History Museum in Balboa Park as well as Sorrento Valley. It is 12 o'clock. It is Tuesday, February 18th. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a long weekend. Hope you didn't have to work yesterday. If you did, sorry about it, but at least you're a day into your work week. And we roll on with hour number 3 of Andy and Elsten. Andy Halbern, Craig Elsten, Braden Suprenant. It's time for all the sports news of the weekend that was and the day that will be. Your 12 o'clock sports fix begins with Annie.
The one with the great hair, apparently.
Yeah, well.
Every day.
New coloring?
Did get a new, did go into the salon over the 3-day break and get a little update, get a little freshen up on the hair.
Looks beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everyone. It's needed it. You know, sometimes it just needs it. You need a new hair who dis moment.
Absolutely. I do that all the time when I go into the barbershop and I ask for a number 2 all the way around.
Just makes you feel like a brand new person.
Brand new.
Yes. Okay, let's start. We got a lot to get to since it was a 3-day weekend. The Padres, let's start with the Padres. They added some potential depth at first base, and added to the DH competition on Monday, agreeing to a minor league deal with Yuli Gurriel. The 40-year-old right-handed hitter has played parts of 9 seasons in the major leagues, the first 7 with the Astros. He spent most of 2024 with the Braves' AAA affiliate and is set to make $1.25 million if he makes the team, plus $1 million in incentives. Gurriel led the American League with a .319 batting average and ranked second with a .383 on base percentage in 2021, but he has struggled in recent years. The Cubs are signing free agent Justin Turner, reports The Athletic. Turner is expected to fill a backup role at first and third base. Chicago reportedly considered many options for such a role, but ultimately settled on Turner after missing out on Alex Bregman. The Diamondbacks have reportedly reached an agreement with shortstop Geraldo Perdomo on a 4-year extension that'll cover the 2026 to 2029 seasons. There's also a 5th-year club option. Perdomo is guaranteed $45 million, and the deal buys out his final 2 arbitration seasons and at least 2 would-be free agent years, with the option covering a 3rd free agent season. Left-hander Cole Ragans and the Kansas City Royals have agreed on a 3-year, $13.25 million contract extension. The deal covers this year and his first 2 arbitration seasons, giving Kansas City cost certainty and giving him a near top-of-the-market arbitration salary. The Nationals and right-hander Lucas Sims, they were nearing a deal, but they might have reached it. Sims, 31 in May, has spent most of his career with the Reds, but was traded to the Red Sox at last year's deadline. Blue Jays superstar first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. set a deadline for today for extension talks with the club ahead of his final season under club control before free agency. The deadline has come and gone, and Guerrero told reporters this morning that the sides did not reach a deal. Reports add that Guerrero does not intend to negotiate during the season and now expects to see free agency. He did, however, say that he will still consider coming back to the Blue Jays. However, now they have to beat out 29 other teams. And finally, the Athletics announced Monday that they've signed manager Mark Kotsay, that is the Sacramento Athletics, to a contract extension through the 2028 season that includes a club option for 2029. Kotsay has helped the Athletics navigate a difficult 3 seasons while the franchise lost a lot of games, built a young roster, and dealt with an emotional departure from Oakland. And that is your MLB report.
Outstanding stuff. Here's Braden on the college scene.
College athletics. We'll start with college basketball. San Diego State in action tonight against Fresno State, 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. In terms of metrics, this game doesn't really move the needle for San Diego State. Even if they win, it's going to go down. But they're favored by 18.5 against Fresno State. Got to go out there and take care of business against the Bulldogs and then worry about Saturday when they have to go up to Logan, Utah to take on Utah State. After a big win over Boise State over the weekend, Aztecs a little bit of a sigh of relief in terms of their overall bracket bubble conversation. They are now the number 1 team in the last 4 in, so a couple of wins, they should be able to play themselves into a last 4 bye, but they're not out of the woods yet, so that's an important game tonight for San Diego State. As for UCSD, Tritons warrant a special entry as one of the 2 non-power conference or mid-major teams with at least a 10% chance to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large entry. according to ESPN Analytics model, even if they don't win their conference. Along with UC Irvine, the Big West has an actual chance to send multiple teams to the tournament for the first time since 2005, with UCSD checking in first at above 60%. Triton's net ranking is in the 45 range, but their basketball power index hovers around 70. A very poor strength of schedule, which is at 242, doesn't help their cause, but they're one of 3 teams to beat Utah State, and they did it on the road. That's the latest bubble update, according to ESPN.com, on UCSD. They won't be in action again until Thursday. That is the local college basketball. As for the local college baseball over the weekend, not very good for all 3 local teams. USD got swept by TCU, who's ranked 22 in the country now, according to D1 Baseball. Really good program in the Horned Frogs. UCSD went up to Stockton and took on Pacific. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Pacific Tigers over the weekend. San Diego State went to Arizona in the Scottsdale area and played in a multi-team event. Beat Seton Hall 16-11, lost to Grand Canyon 6-5, and then lost to Nebraska 13-0. So UCSD and San Diego State, the 2 state schools, went 1-2. USD goes 0-4. San Diego State and UC San Diego will play tonight at Triton Ballpark in La Jolla for a Tuesday night game. USD is off today because they played yesterday, and they will play this weekend in Tucson, Arizona. As for the Tritons and the Aztecs, they will play in the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament. Seattle, this will be the schedule for the Aztecs. They will take on Seattle on Thursday, Utah on Friday, UC Santa Barbara on Saturday, and Pepperdine on Sunday. For the Tritons, it will be Pepperdine Friday, California Baptist Saturday, and Utah on Sunday for some weekend action in college baseball. As for college softball, good news for the San Diego State Aztecs. They come in at number 19 this week, according to D1 Softball. Had a 5-0 week last week, which included knocking down ranked Alabama 4-1. They beat Alabama, Wichita State, Missouri, Virginia, and Charlotte in Clearwater, going a perfect 5-0 in the tournament down there in Clearwater, Florida. They will play Oregon this weekend, followed by Santa Barbara and UC Riverside, St. Mary's, and Hawaii up at Cat City, Cathedral City, California, for a tournament this weekend. But the Aztecs, with Coach Denise, 19 in the country after a big week on the softball diamond. As for the other 2 local programs, San Diego had a better week this week than they did the previous week. They ended up going 2-3 this weekend in Riverside. Lost to Utah State twice, beat California Baptist 2 out of 3 times. They will play Cal State Fullerton tomorrow and then play in another tournament in St. George, Utah over the weekend. As for the Tritons, they've started their season off 2-7. They did get a win over the weekend against Colorado State, but dropped games against Illinois, Chicago, 2 games to San Jose State, and a game to Santa Clara. They'll be in action again in St. George, Utah this weekend in the same tournament that San Diego is playing in. And that's your latest basketball, baseball, and D1 softball reports as we go to Craig for more local action.
All right, here we go with all of the rest of your local sports. 6 days until match day for San Diego FC.
It's the first match is what? Sunday?
Sunday.
And this is on the road. Galaxy?
4 p.m. at Dignity Health
Something or other.
The old StubHub.
The old StubHub.
Yeah, that one.
It is a very nice soccer stadium.
Is it an intimate setting to watch a game?
It is exactly.
It is.
So intimate.
All the things that they said
The
about
most
it
intimate.
are true for soccer. That's why the Galaxy love it there.
That's it's going to be intimate for the A's and the Rays to play in their minor league ballparks as well.
You know what I think of every time I see the StubHub Center and I think of Pros versus Joes with Petros Papadakis because they used to do that at the StubHub Center.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that's where they'll be on Sunday, San Diego
Exciting.
FC. On Saturday morning, the Coachella Valley Invitational preseason portion of San Diego FC's schedule wrapped up in style after losing 3-1 and 3-0. The third preseason match was a 6-0 win over New York Red Bulls. Made me wonder if New York Red Bulls started like their real players. SDFC definitely did. They started what you would expect to be Sunday's lineup and absolutely dominated. Anders Dreyer scored his first 2 goals. Of course, they'll immediately be erased from the record as we will hit reset for Sunday, but he scored a brace. Chucky Lozano
Good for
scored.
confidence.
Yeah,
Sure,
no,
sure,
I mean,
sure. Yeah.
What do you want other than like a dominant win, get you rolling, make you feel pretty
Win
good?
the preseason.
Yeah, well, they did that. Luca De La Torre had a goal. Marcus Ingvartsen scored. Pretty much everyone was wide open, and big win for SDFC. Followed the next day by an affirming time with their fans, Fan Fest at Snapdragon Stadium on Sunday afternoon. And now this Sunday at 4 o'clock, the game will be on Apple TV+. All the games will be on Apple TV+.
So if you want to watch it Sunday, you have to sign up for the MLS subscription. Like, nothing is free right now, right?
They might have the first weekend free or something. I don't know.
So
They've
maybe
done
you could
that.
try that. Yeah.
They definitely...
I think that'd be a good idea for people just
Yeah.
to kind of see the first few games.
For sure. But like multiple weekends in the year, Apple will open it up to everyone and be like, this is a free weekend.
Okay.
And so, like, there will be those moments, but to watch every match,
Sure.
you need the pass. And it's only on Apple TV+. So that's coming up on Sunday. We'll probably talk to somebody from San Diego FC at some point during the course
I feel
of
like
this week.
somebody will be a great person to
One
chat
of
with.
them.
I've heard great things about him. Great things about
Me
somebody.
too. Me too. We'll get somebody.
A little bit better than anybody.
Yeah.
Somebody's better than anybody, but
Really good.
I tend
Really
to
good.
agree.
I don't really like anybody's interviews.
Right. No.
Yeah, but somebody's
Somebody's are
Great
usually
defense
good.
for somebody.
That's
Somebody
right.
is something somewhere. San Diego Wave FC. Now MLS teams have cleared out of Coachella, and now National Women's Soccer League teams have come in for the next week. And there'll be NWSL preseason matches in Coachella. Sunday afternoon, San Diego Wave FC took the pitch for the first time, played a scoreless draw against Houston Dash. They will play Bay FC Saturday morning in Coachella. So stay tuned for that. Wrapping up the local soccer scene, MASL action. The San Diego Sockers played to form against the back-to-back champion Chihuahua Savage over the weekend. They lost Friday in Mexico 8-5. That is where Chihuahua never loses. They're 10-0 this year. Then the two teams came back to the United States, and the Sockers won and beat the Savage for the second time at Front Wave Arena. 5-2 was the final score. Sockers have a tenuous hold on second place in the MASL. They will host Milwaukee Saturday night at Front Wave Arena. San Diego Seals got their win of the year, bar none, Saturday evening, snapping the Buffalo Bandits' 16-game winning streak, doing it on the road in front of 18,000 fans.
All right.
And doing it in style. Buffalo had won 16 in a row. They're the back-to-back league champions. However, they had to play on back-to-back nights, and San Diego took advantage of that. However, they were trailing. They were losing in the fourth quarter. Then Zach Currier scored with 6 seconds left in the game to tie it, send it to golden goal overtime. That is when Captain Wes Berg netted his 6th goal of the game. That was the winner. Seals stunning
Huge.
Buffalo 14-13, getting back to 500.
Great win.
On the year.
Yeah.
Same two teams will meet Saturday night at Pechanga Arena in San Diego. And I'm sure the Bandits will have revenge on their mind, but for the Seals, a chance to really gain some ground. Don't look now. San Diego's Gulls have won 3 in a row, 4 out of 5. Saturday, the Gulls beat Coachella Valley on the road 5-3. Then they came home Sunday, took down the San Jose Barracuda 4-2. The Gulls will host Abbotsford at Pechanga Arena on Wednesday night, looking to keep the good times rolling. On the other end of the success spectrum, we find the San Diego Mojo, who have dropped 5 matches in a row. Lost road trip that took them through Indianapolis and Omaha and saw them win 1 set out of 7. Lost in straight sets to Omaha on Sunday. Mojo will try to get their feet back underneath them Thursday at home when they host Omaha once again at Viejas Arena. Last but certainly not least, we talked about it in the second segment of the 10 a.m. hour. Congrats to Ludwig Oberg for winning his second career PGA tournament and first elevated event, taking down the Genesis Invitational at Torrey Pines South on Sunday. Oberg coming from behind with birdies on 4 of the last 6 holes to win by 1 stroke over Maverick McNeely. Scotty Scheffler matched the low round of Sunday with a 64. However, he finished in 3rd place and 3 shots off the lead. We'll talk NBA and NHL as the show continues, but that is it for today's 12 o'clock Sports Fix for Tuesday, February 18th.
William Byron wins the Daytona 500.
Thank you.
For the 2nd year in a row.
Didn't catch it, but I was working on Sunday.
Yeah. And a lot of drama with the Red Sox and who's playing third base and Rafael Devers and Alex Bregman and things that don't concern the Padres, but still, it was quite a lot over the weekend.
Yeah, Devers saying, hey, I play third.
Yeah, play third.
I play third. That's it. I play third.
And saying like the Red Sox went back on their word and he was supposed to play third, but then Alex Cora saying, well, we have different leadership here now and things change.
Yeah.
Drama-rama.
Hey,
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this very briefly because we're pushing to 18 anyway. Kind of funny to sign the Gold Glove third baseman of the American League. Play him out of position at second base, push your club's top prospect back to the minor leagues or to the bench, and to do all that to service arguably the worst defensive third baseman in the American League in Rafael Devers, simply because a former GM, who is now the assistant in St. Louis, said when they gave him a big money contract, you get to be the third baseman long term. Well, that was yesterday's news. That dude's out the door, but the Red Sox can actively poison their entire campaign by keeping this up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like, things like this can get softened over time, and you have your conversations with different players, and you sit down with them, and you say, look, come on, you're still our guy. We love you. We need you to produce for us. And it's not like this is the end of the world, but it can cause ongoing drama if things don't get off to a good start for the Red Sox or they're in a tough position. It just becomes kind of another what do you want to call it? Another yucky spot in the clubhouse, or it can be that.
Yeah. It's a negative situation.
Yeah.
It's a negative situation. And
if you win, everybody moves past it. If you don't, it starts to fester.
Oh, how about this one? How about it's May, the Red Sox are 2 games under 500. Alex Bregman's hitting .217 with 3 homers, and he does an extensive interview with WEEI and talks about how the motion changes in his body going from playing third base to playing second base, and the way he has to pivot and the way his hips move has led him to unexpected soreness and has distracted him and is part of the reason why he's off to such a cold start at the plate. Meanwhile, Devers is over there, committing his 13th throwing error of the year, but still hitting homers over the Green Monster. It's the kind of thing, it's the little kind of thing that can actually torpedo a season.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of shows you too, it shows you too how Xander handled it last year. Xander handled it like a pro. Xander handled it like, obviously it was going to be a challenge for him and something that he didn't feel that comfortable with at that point, getting told about it the first day of spring training. But he also wasn't about to go in front of the cameras and say, I refuse to do it, and I refuse to move and all that. However, you see like what the fallout and what the domino effect could be. Every player's different, but you see kind of what it could be if it doesn't get resolved or they don't find kind of some kind of happy medium for the players.
Their problem.
Yeah.
Not ours. But we dealt with something very similar last
Yeah.
year. You didn't trade Ha-Sung Kim. Then you install him as the shortstop. All of a sudden, your long-term shortstop isn't playing his position. He handled it a lot better than Rafael Devers did, but then you see the performance, and then we're still talking about it a year later. So, again, a little thing that can grow like a poison seed in the garden. It can grow and cause all kinds of problems. Let's take a time out. 12 o'clock Sports Fix is done. When we come back, the Daily Schilt. Let's hear what Mike Schilt had to say today, including the Yuli Gurriel minor league signing. We'll get his take on it when we come back. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Don't forget, coming up at 1 o'clock, not only will we be joined live by Sam Levitt, but we will kick off the hour by announcing today's biggest fan. And that person will have 10 minutes to call in for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. You can register your name. Contest continues through spring training. You can do it at 973thefansd.com/biggestfan. And if you sign up, you could be in the hopper for a future week. This week's sorted, but future weeks are not. So get your name in there, 973thefansd.com/biggestfan.
I saw Gracie in the chat earlier. She called in last week. She was a biggest fan. So
She was.
see if someone else from the chat makes it this time.
Oh, camera's off. Sorry. We were 2 for 5 last week.
Yeah.
We only have 4 shots. No. Are they gonna? What are we gonna do on Friday?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Well, they have a biggest fan for Monday, which obviously was not the deal, so I should probably do Tuesdays today then, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I changed my sheet. Sucks to be that guy.
Yeah, bummer. Well,
Hopefully
regardless, we'll either sort it. We'll either do
we'll
it
get
on a
this
different time
figured out.
Friday, or we won't. I don't actually know, but tune in and find out what happens. I guarantee you, Jesse will not just throw a biggest fan.
I
name
know. No,
at
Jesse
one-
won't.
It's
Yeah.
the top of the 3rd inning, and today's biggest fan is no. That will not be happening. I mean, it could. Dave Marcus could hand him a card, but I guess it's not impossible. I mean, the guy, he's a team player. If you ask him to do it, he might do it. He wouldn't be like Rafael Deversing it and being like, I call ball. That's it. I don't read promos. I call ball.
Which we know he reads promos.
He reads promos all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably if someone hands him a card,
Yeah.
he'll just read it
He'll
like
just
a
read it.
normal promo. Right.
Just read it. Then be like, okay. We'll sort it all out. Don't
All
worry.
right.
We'll sort it all out. Let's get to the Daily Schilt. Here is what the skipper had to say today. It's a voyage of discovery for all of us. What do we have for clip number 1 here?
Clip number 1 involves how the day's going and the reported signing of Yuli Gurriel.
It's going great.
How was day 1, and how do you assess how that went and kind of build off that?
Yeah, day 1 was really fantastic, quite candidly. You expect the enthusiasm to be high, the effort level to be good, appropriate relative to where we are in camp. But really, most importantly, we talked about winning the offseason, talked about being and making sure we're within our own walls, taking care of business, and we were able to do that. Enjoy the offseason. That's appropriate. But now it's time to go. But guys showed up in a really good place mentally and physically, and everybody looks good and ready to rock.
Reports coming out saying that you guys signed Yuli Gurriel. Any truth to those rumors?
Yeah, there's truth to that. I think it's out, right? I mean, so we signed Gurry, and he's going to get a chance to come in and compete, a veteran guy that's won, and see what he can do.
What do you like about a guy like that, 40 years old, been there, done that? What does he bring to the table?
I'm a big fan of wisdom and experience. It doesn't have an age to it. Jackson Merrill is pretty wise and mature beyond his years, so I don't put, like I say, any kind of age on it, but we do appreciate, we're already seeing benefit of some of the guys that have come in that have experiences, that have won at other places, that are able to share and communicate with a very open environment. And, it's a guy with a long, big league, successful career that's won a lot, so we're excited to have him share his wisdom and his high baseball IQ to move our needle forward.
Watching some of the live BPs yesterday, some of the guys are getting a little competitive with one another. Do you applaud that, encourage that, even on day 1, guys kind of getting a little chippy?
Heck yeah, man. I mean, this is competition, we always want to respect our teammates internally, but when you get out there and competitors compete regardless of circumstances, part of one of the things we don't have to talk about, it's more about doing. We encourage and make sure we hold people accountable to that standard, but yeah, people showing up competing day 1 and getting after each other a little bit, I think is healthy.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, wisdom. He's a big fan of wisdom, and that's what Yuli Gurriel brings, is wisdom. So I lost because he did not reference 2-time champion, 1-time Gold Glove winner, 1-time batting title winner.
He does acknowledge the Yu Darvish, Yuli Gurriel comments at the very end of the press conference. I don't know if we have that clip.
Is it the
clip? Perfect. Yes. Okay, but I don't think that he goes into the bio, so it's good that we
really fantastic.
We had that.
No,
All right,
no,
let's.
we're playing-
Well, hang on. Maybe this is the start of the bio.
We're playing
really fantastic.
yes.
Let's
another
go.
video behind the scenes because, God forbid, Twitter just
Work?
doesn't wait for me to hit play.
What do we got now?
This is the Yuli Gurriel, Darvish deal.
Okay.
Mike, I realize this in the past, but Gurriel had a negative situation with you, Darvish, years ago. Did that have to be addressed with you before deciding to even bring him into the clubhouse for a tryout?
Yeah, I know. AJ spoke to Darvish about it, and as you would expect from Hugh and quite honestly, our entire organization, listen, we're mindful and want to make sure that, people are being respected. We also know, and I won't speak for Darvish, but he was communicated with. He can answer that question if you feel it's important. But, the fact of the matter is, grace is important. I don't know that we give enough of it. It happened a long time ago. It was in competition as a one-off, and no one's going to, at least we're not going to hold, Uriel's feet to the fire. And I respect you for having that grace and forgiveness in his heart, and knowing that, there's only one of us that in my world is perfect, and none of us are standing here, and we can appreciate that.
Look, great answer from Mike Schilt in terms of like forgiveness and wanting to move on from the past and allowing someone the room to grow. I completely agree with him. Still puzzled about just, is it worth the signing in general for a 40-year-old who, has regressed a lot in the last 2-3 years? But for all I know, like I said, he can go out and have a Jerks and Profar type year, and that's what they see in him, And he also could not have that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Over the last 3 seasons, which covers almost 1,000 at-bats, around 970 at-bats, Yuli Gurriel has put up negative .6 WAR over 3 seasons. 1 year negative .2, 1 year negative .5, and last year he soared back up in only 65 plate appearances to positive 0.1.
He spent most of the year in the minors.
He did, for a reason. He's washed. That's what happens when you get to be 40. And someday we'll have Manny and Xander on their age 40 contracts. And I hope they're not completely washed when they get there. But Yuli, bless him in anything he's done earlier in his career, and he's got 950 hits in his career. He's probably hanging on to try and get 1,000 hits in Major League Baseball. He's 48 hits away. He's got 1 batting title in his career. That was 4 years ago. And since then, 242, 245, 241.
And from the article in the Union Tribune with Manny Machado endorsing him and saying that he worked out with him during the offseason, he worked out with Yuli, and Yuli's running faster than 20-year-olds, I think is the quote Manny gave or something like that. Maybe this was something where Manny really pitched it to Preller or someone and said, look, this is a guy I worked out with during the offseason. I think he could be a good fit, or he could maybe be a good flyer, or maybe just at least help in spring training. I don't know, but we'll definitely find out. First off, starting with, does he make the team? And then, can he produce anything during the season?
Yeah. Here's why you're hearing me be down on this, because on a basic level, it's a who cares, right? A guy's a minor league invitee. I don't care unless he makes the team, at which point you'll hear me invoke his name again, and it won't be happy. And the reason why is because every roster spot is an opportunity cost for a franchise. So if Yuli Gurriel makes the team, that means someone else didn't. If you give up Eggy Rosario because Yuli Gurriel makes the team, that would seem ridiculous to me. If you gave up even a Jonathan Perlaza, I would rather see a kid like him make the team with whatever potential he has, or a Turso Ornelas, Brandon Lockridge. These are guys who would not make the team if Yuli Gurriel made the team. One of those guys wouldn't. So I just don't see the point of a right-handed DH-only, first-base-only player who's 40 who hasn't hit in 3 years. But, that's it. Probably he shows up for 9 at-bats and then he gets sent on his merry way.
Yeah, it's a lot of, I guess, extra talk for that, and so we'll see. I mean, unless they really have their sights, like you said, set on him being a piece of their roster, and he, I guess, has to earn that as well. But as we alluded to in the earlier show, spring training has a way of being deceiving as well. So we'll see what happens. But, if you missed it, you can read all about it. Just Google the two names. Yuli Gurriel made a very insensitive and racist gesture to Yu Darvish back in 2017 when he was on the mound. And the two have never spoken from the article in the Union Tribune. However, Yu Darvish put up a post back in 2017 saying that he hoped that people would try to get past it and maybe learn from it. And Yuli Gurriel also came out and apologized and said that that's kind of what is done, I guess, in clubhouses or whatever. And I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Do we have one more from Schilt?
We have a couple more, but here's one. Salas and DeVries.
All right.
What they've done so far in camp.
Seen out of your teenagers, the 18-year-olds, Leo Dallas and Ethan, and just kind of their makeup and what you've seen in camp, the couple camps you've had with Ethan, too.
Yeah, it's the third camp for Ethan, big league camp, second in this seat, but known Ethan going back several years and even when I was in player development role here. And, one thing that I appreciate about Ethan is just the maturity. And I alluded to that earlier, about the, age. But this is a very special guy that, one of the first times a couple years ago, and I went into AA in 22, went into the season and sitting there talking to Jackson and had met and saw Ethan in spring training a little bit, and he's 17 years old. And he just walks right by me like, "What's up, Schilt? How you been?" I'm like, he's one of these guys like, you're not sure who the more mature guy in the room is. Probably him. And so, no, he's done a great job. He's now what's next for him. The maturity, the composure, the ability, all those are important. But, now it gets to a certain point as he gets closer to, being a big league contributor. What do those next steps look like? The consistency, the quality of work, the intent of work. So I feel like Ethan's in a good place trending towards that, and I'm excited for him and for us. DeVries, I don't know as well. I've gotten to know him a little bit. He came to Camp 44, spent some time with him, seen him around the complex a little bit. We're still in the evaluation process. His first big league camp, not asking him to do a whole lot, just go play, see what he can do, and we'll evaluate it from there.
Okay. Very straightforward. Very, very simple from Schilt. Let's roll to the last one, and then we'll get out of here and play.
We're just going to break now.
Okay, we'll break then. Probably wasn't worth it anyway.
It's not, no.
Okay, cool. Great. 12:38. We take a timeout. When we come back, it's time to play our first silly game of the week. Trying to qualify you to go to Las Vegas to see Motley Crue. Today, it's the game of easy trivia called Anybody Knows, where you take on Annie Halbrin head-to-head. Can you beat her or tie and be qualified for the end of the month drawing? We need a contestant now. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. Phone line's open for the next 5 minutes, 833-288-0973. Give us a ring, put you on the air, and we'll play Anybody Knows next. Annie and Elsten on the Fan. Motley Crue just announced a brand new Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM, March 28th to April 19th. You can get your tickets to Motley Crue, the Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM now at Ticketmaster.com. Or you can win Anybody Knows today and be registered in our end of the month drawing for our show's grand prize for 2 tickets to see Motley Crue and a hotel stay at Park MGM. It's time for Anybody Knows, the game of ridiculously easy trivia. Today's contestant is Brandon in El Cajon. Hello, Brandon.
Hey guys, how we doing today? Happy kind of Monday?
Yeah, happy kind of Monday. Happy start of the work week day.
Kind of, is that Tuesday?
That's what Tuesday is. It's
That's
a
right.
kind of Monday.
It's a kind of Monday.
Different kind of Monday. Well, Brandon, before we play the game, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Brandon. I'm from the chat sometimes, and I've never played this game. I've played the Family Feud game, but not this one before, so I'm ready for this one.
All right, Brandon. You are Chat Brandon. We were wondering if you were Chat Brandon
Chat
or not.
Brandon.
Okay, Chat Brandon. Here we go. You're playing Anybody Knows today. Here's how it works. Very straightforward. Braden has a card. That card has 10 trivia questions on it. He's going to ask you those questions in rapid fire order. You're going to try and get all 10 right. If you get all 10 right, game's over. You won. We'll have Annie play just for fun, but you'll win. If you get any wrong, that opens the door for Annie, of course. The hook of the game is that all of these questions are designed to be almost deceptively easy. Try not to outthink yourself. Try not to get lost in the weeds. And if you do, you should have a good time of it. Annie will come back in. She can't hear your survey. She'll answer her 10 questions. And if you tie or win, you're in the drawing. Does it all make sense?
Sounds simple enough.
All right, Brandon, I got my little whiteboard. I'll keep score for both of you. Here's Braden. Good luck.
All right, Brandon, 1 minute on the clock starts after I ask you question number 1. What is the Roman numeral for 40? What letters?
Is it XL?
That is correct, XL.
Well done.
Off to the good start. In what famous movie was Dorothy Gale the main character?
Let me pass and come back to that.
Okay.
Freddie Mercury was the original singer in which rock band?
Let me pass that one too.
Which Michigan university is home of the Spartans?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. A public processional with floats and marching bands is called what?
A what?
A public processional with floats and marching bands is called what?
You know that thing where they walk down the road?
Walk down the road and smile and
parade?
wave. A parade.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Didn't want to rain on yours, Brandon. Here
How
we
many
go.
teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
Tricky.
8.
3. In bowling, what's it called if you knock down all 10 pins with the second ball of a single turn?
The second ball was a spare.
Spare.
Correct.
If it's 5 p.m. in New York City, what time is it in Sacramento, California?
2 p.m.
What is a water closet?
That's a good question. Let me pass on that one.
All right.
How do you make 27 cents with 5 coins?
A dime, 3 nickels, 2 pennies.
2 dimes, 1 nickel, 2 pennies.
Well, wouldn't it work the same way?
I'm sure it would, but that's what the card says.
Well, all right. Back to the first pass.
With 5 coins. What was the famous movie with? In what famous movie was Dorothy Gale the main character?
I'm not the biggest movie guy. I'm just
Looking for Wizard of Oz. Freddie Mercury was the original singer in which rock band?
let's go with Motley Crue just because.
Be Queen.
Queen.
And I think is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, water closet?
Oh, yeah, what's a water closet? British people call it this. The water closet is... Got to go to the WC.
No clue.
Bathroom.
Maybe a bathroom.
All right. 1, 2,
Brandon gave
3, 4,
6
5, 6.
coins. We were looking for 5 coins.
7 is what you got, Brandon.
That was a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest. Nonetheless. Stay right there. We'll see what happens, man. You never know. You never know.
Some guy in the chat. What happened to the minute? It's a long minute. When,
It's a really long minute, Lance. We basically cheat on the minute. We say a minute, but it's really not a minute.
It's really not a minute.
Who am I
It's however
playing?
long you get. You're playing Brandon.
Okay, Brandon.
From the
Brandon,
chat.
The guy with the gray B next to him.
Yeah, I know. Creativity on the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
His score is set. Yours is about to be revealed, Annie. Good luck.
Brandon goes, I listen to country, not rock.
Fair enough.
What is the Roman numeral for 40? What letters?
The Roman numeral for 40,
Yes.
but letters.
Well,
they're just, yeah.
that's what they are.
Because otherwise you would just say 40.
Right.
If you read it.
XL?
You're right.
Correct.
Oh, dang.
Really well done.
I didn't
Really
think
well
I was going to
done.
get that. Okay.
In what
job.
famous movie was Dorothy Gale the main character?
In the Dorothy Gale Chronicles of Dorothy Gale.
That'd be The Wizard of Oz.
I think the last name is throwing you
Oh,
off.
it
Yeah.
is.
Everybody knows
Dorothy
Dorothy.
from the Wizard
Yeah, if
of
you
Oz.
just
Her
said
last name
Dorothy,
was Gale.
yeah.
Nobody
Gale.
knows
Yeah.
her
I
name is
never
Gale.
knew that.
Little known fact.
How do you spell that?
G-A-L-E.
Like Gale
like
Force
a Gale
winds.
Force wind, right?
Yeah, blowing her all the way to
the
Oz.
tornado.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Fair enough.
Freddie Mercury was the original singer in which rock band?
Oh, Queen.
Which Michigan university is home of the Spartans?
Michigan State Spartans.
Correct. A public processional with floats and marching bands is called a what?
A parade.
A parade. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Ooh. 4?
3.
3.
Close. In bowling, what's it called if you knock down all 10 pins with the second ball of a single turn?
A spare.
Spare is correct.
Yes, ma'am.
We used to go bowling a lot in the East County.
That's East County.
Yeah.
Friday nights in East County,
Parkway
man.
Bowl, Parkway Bowl.
Parkway Bowl.
Yeah.
There you go. If it's 5 o'clock in New York City, what time is it in Hold on. If it's 5 p.m. in New York City, what time is it in Sacramento, California?
2 p.m.
Correct.
Yes.
What is a water closet?
A water closet.
Gotta go to the OWC.
Okay. A toilet. A bathroom. A toilet.
Bathroom.
The
Okay.
OWC.
Bathroom. How do you make 27 cents with 5 coins?
I make 27 cents with 5 coins. 3 dimes. No, wait.
That'd be 30 right there.
Uh-oh. 2
2 dimes?
2 dimes.
Okay.
2 dimes. 27.
Yes.
A nickel.
Yes.
And 2 pennies.
Yeah! There we go.
8 to 6, our final Annie is victorious.
Well done.
Ah, Brandon.
Brandon
I got
didn't-
lucky on a few of those,
Well,
Brandon.
Brandon didn't know Queen. Brandon didn't know Dorothy. You both missed Dorothy.
Mm-hmm.
You both missed Dorothy.
You both missed tablespoon. 3
Yeah.
teaspoons in a tablespoon. But you win it on the WC, and
He gave 6 coins.
Yeah, and he gave 6 coins.
For the 27
Well,
cents.
in fairness, I did say 3, but I still would have won, it sounds like. I
You
did say
figured it
3
out.
dimes.
You sorted it
Okay.
out. You
okay.
got
okay.
there. It wasn't done, you know.
Brandon, call back again.
Of course.
Play another game.
He's played before.
Oh,
he has
good.
played
okay.
Family Feud.
He's played Family Feud.
Has
He's
he
now
won?
we don't believe so.
Oh, wow. Call back again.
However, you know, anybody can win, including Annie.
It just depends on the
That's right.
questions, like how random they are.
Great job, everybody. Always enjoy. This was a more difficult
This one
quiz.
was.
You had Dorothy Gale, confusing. You haven't heard Gale before.
No.
Mr. and Mrs. Gale's daughter.
I've
Dorothy.
only heard of Dorothy.
Dorothy. Yeah, same. I didn't know that was her last name.
Yeah. 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, legitimately confusing.
Yes, yes.
I would have guessed 2.
Why
2,
wouldn't it be
right.
4 or 2
Right.
or
Yeah, 3. Thanks.
3? I mean, why 3?
Yeah.
Whoever goes 1, 2, 3, reset. You know, like that doesn't make sense. But
3 is a magic number.
nonetheless, baking doesn't make sense either. Some people call it science, but I think it's wizardry. How you get that muffin
Right?
to be
Don't they say
perfect.
in baking you have to follow the instructions exactly?
Exactly. It really is a science.
You can't.
It
Yeah,
is science.
It really is.
Audible, right?
That's,
Omaha.
Brandon said he has one once
yes,
on Family
okay.
Feud.
All right. Thank goodness.
That's
Good for
great,
him.
Brandon. Yeah.
Hang the banner.
Interesting. Yeah, he says that's why Tyler in the chat says that's why you can get a quarter tablespoon, little spoon, measuring spoon, or a half tablespoon, but not a 1/3 tablespoon because that's just
A teaspoon.
Oh, this hurts my head. Wait, what?
Makes sense.
Why don't you just go? Because aren't there 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup or something? Or
Well, now you're getting into advanced baking, Annie. And
I don't.
Yeah.
Well,
This is only baking 101. We're not ready for
I
advanced
think
baking.
you can't
yet.
do conversions. You just must follow the recipe as is.
That's what the internet's for.
Yeah.
Anytime I need a conversion, it's a quick just Google thing.
3 tablespoons.
Our innate knowledge is humanity is just disappearing into the phone every single day. Hey Siri, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
Hey Siri, DoorDash something instead
3.
of me baking it.
Is 3 teaspoons.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Siri.
Oh,
Appreciate
wow.
you. Hour number 4. Sam Levitt live next. All right, here we go. It is biggest fan time. We got Sam Levitt standing by. However, he is not eligible, even though he has called in the proper window. He is ineligible. This person,
I'm sure he can get a suite in the Odyssey, a night in the Odyssey suite anytime he wants.
yeah, he's got his own. I mean, he's got his own named chair.
That's right.
In the press box, so he doesn't really need a suite. He's got his own spot already. Nonetheless, that is not the case for our next person that we will name. We want to congratulate today's biggest fan. It's Joe Polito from San Diego. What's up, Joe? Hey, Joe. Give us a call. Joe Polito. Give us a call back in the next 10 minutes.
Joe.
At 833-288-0973, you'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey suite at a Padres game later this season. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Joe Polito, 833-288-0973. You have 10 minutes. Give us a call.
I should have played Luke Combs' song Joe instead.
You could have played Luke Combs' song Joe.
I could have.
You could have played Jimi Hendrix, Hey Joe, the official theme song of the left field platoon of your 2025 San Diego Padres, Hey Joe. Here's Sammy Levitt. He was probably unaware that Hey Joe is the official left field platoon song, but now he is, and he's joining us live from Peoria and Padres spring training. Hi, Sammy. How are you?
Craig, Annie, Braden, good afternoon on a sunny, cloudless day here in Peoria.
Nice.
Love it. All right. Well, you've got a clear-eyed view of everything always, no matter how many clouds are in the sky. Sam, Eric Greupner, I think, was the big discussion point, I'm assuming, between the media this morning. A very positive message to the fans and to the media this morning.
Yeah, certainly a very positive message, and good to hear from Eric Greupner, as obviously he addressed, a number of things surrounding the team, from the payroll to obviously the legal filings and situation, and the TV situation, and a great announcement involving Don Orsillo, which is fantastic to hear. The great Don Orsillo sticking around for a very long time. So very good to hear from Eric, and I thought very encouraging as far as payroll and beyond. So, yes, good to hear from the Padres CEO, absolutely.
Sammy, we saw that Yuli Gurriel has been brought into camp and is going to fight for a major league spot if he can make the team. What do you kind of see from him, and what were the comments that were made in terms of what Mike Schilt might see from him, or what teammates say about him?
Well, I'll start with what I saw from Yuli on the field, and that was taking Michael King deep during live BP. So that was, I would say, today the most notable live batting practice moment, as Gurriel hit a home run to left field. So a good start to, I suppose, his Padres career for the 40-year-old. Look, we didn't hear from Yuli himself today. I would assume that'll come in the next day or two. As far as what others had to say about him, I think what the Padres like and what Mike Schilt likes about having Yuli Gurriel, he used the word wisdom. And I think he's somebody who brings obviously a lot of that with his experience, his age, obviously, part of a lot of winning teams with the Houston Astros. So I think they value that as far as what he brings. And we'll see. Look, he's a non-roster invite, obviously. He's an older player, but he does, play, obviously, some first base and has power, always has. So it'll be interesting to see ultimately, what his spring training is and if this is something that is more of a long shot, or if this is something that, crystallizes as a real possibility as we get deeper into spring training. But I think that's what they value in Yuli Gurriel, and Mike Schilt said as much today, that word wisdom. And obviously we'll see what Yuli Gurriel has left in the tank here. But today, a good start. Nice at bat against Michael King.
Yeah. Yeah, you posted that, and I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Padres fan that was starting the Yuli Gurriel for 26-man roster campaign today, I suppose it got off to a good start on the field.
Well, I'll build off of that, Sammy, because listen, whatever the Padres decide to do is what they're going to decide to do. I can't personally conceive of an opening day roster that involves Yuli Gurriel. That's me personally. One of the reasons for that is because I think the opportunity cost would be significant for the Padres organization to give a roster spot to a 40-year-old who's on his way out of big league baseball when you've got several young players who are trying to fight their way into big league baseball. And that's kind of where my curiosity is starting to drift to Jonathan Perlaza, to Terso Ornelas, to Brandon Lockridge. Any one of those three young players could have the call of their life if they get called to an opening day team. And Perlaza in particular is somebody, switch hitter with power, that I feel like, hey, let's give him a shot. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, look, I think with Perlaza, obviously had an excellent season in the KBO last year and hit a lot of home runs. I'll tell you, just by looking at him, his biceps are the size of my head. He certainly looks like he's hit the weight room. He has a very quick, I would say pretty compact swing. I mean, you certainly notice it when you watch him during BP. I haven't seen him do anything super notable during live BP, but I also don't see every at-bat in every pitch. But, he's intriguing. I'll give him that based on what he did in the KBO last year. And you just watch him. I mean, you see his physique and you see his swing type. And I'm with you, Craig. Look, there's real opportunity for some of these for some of these non-roster invites, whether it's Perlaza, whether, not non-roster invite, but any of these potential outfield bench type spots like a Tirso Ornelas, and list goes on and on. So, for a guy like Perlaza, I think certainly he comes here and he has a really good spring. He's going to have a real good chance to make this team. And he is intriguing, I think, for all those reasons.
Yeah, and Sammy, I think you had a chance to talk to Leo Dallas DeVries today, and we just haven't really heard. Obviously, he's so young and is working his way through the minors. Heard from him a lot. So, what were your impressions, kind of talking to him and getting a chance to get to know him a little bit?
Yeah, it was the first time I heard Leo Dallas DeVries talk in person to the media today, and he was alongside interpreter Danny Sanchez, and obviously he's a young kid and he's 18 years old, and I thought he was really, really well-spoken, really, really calm, really cool and collected. And, I thought said a lot of great things about, his mentality, his maturity, being around the major league clubhouse. This is his first major league spring training, being inside that clubhouse, unlike Ethan Salas, who's sort of an old pro now. I asked him about his relationship with Ethan. And, he said it's a special relationship. So, I was very impressed by the way he spoke. Look, I've seen him a little bit on the field. Mike Schilt made it pretty clear today that the goal for DeVries, maybe a little bit unlike Salas, is they just want him to get out there and play baseball and do what he does and not think or worry too much about it beyond that being his first major league spring training. But I was really impressed. I mean, again, he's one of those guys, much like Salas, that you watch him speak and you watch him carry himself on the field and on the backfields here, and he just doesn't seem 18 years old, right? He seems he carries himself, at an age well beyond that. So it's impressive, and he seems to have a very good head on his shoulders, which is great.
We're chatting with Sam Levitt live from Padres spring training in Peoria, Arizona. Sammy, we heard the clips from Kyle Hart. I literally have no idea, what the guy looks like. I know he's 6'5", right? Have you seen him on a mound yet? Have you had the opportunity to see him actually throw?
I have not seen him throw. Now, I'm not sure if I'd have to look at the schedule again to see if he threw a bullpen today or not. I was not around the Major League bullpen much today with a lot going on. So I don't know if he threw. I have to look at the schedule again. I've not personally seen him throw. I think what's interesting with Kyle Hart, I'm not sure if we talked about this last week or not, but in general, even without just seeing him throw, is look, he's clearly, that we just like in the conversation with Perlaza, look, the KBO is the KBO, and there's a big difference between the KBO and Major League Baseball, and obviously, much like Perlaza, Hart went there and he did really, really well, and he clearly made some adjustments and lowered his arm slot and comes now to the Padres with, I think, a fresh opportunity and a want to translate those changes to the major league. So we'll see. Look, he's the sense I get about Hart is that he's going to be another guy competing for one of these not one of these, for that final rotation spot. And there's some pretty good competition there between Waldron and Vasquez, and throw Stephen Kolek in the mix, and Johnny Brito. And he's certainly not alone, competing for that spot. So to answer your question very simply, Craig, I have not seen him throw yet, but I will make sure the next time he throws to get an eye and some video on Kyle Hart, because you make a good point, Craig. For all my video, got no video of Kyle Hart throwing, so I got to get to that.
Yeah, the clips have been great. And of course, you've been out there for the first full squad workouts. And this is, I think, just the second day of it, right? It just started yesterday. The vibes are always good this time of year. But are you getting the sense, Sammy, that they're just happy with the group they have and looking to build upon what they started to do last year?
No, I don't. Well, let me answer that in two questions. I don't believe the Padres are done. I didn't get that sense when A.J. Preller spoke the other day. I didn't get that sense when Eric Greupner spoke today. Now, to what extent are they not done? I think that's the key question. Is that going to be more small moves a la Yuli Gurriel's and, Jason Hayward types, or is that going to be a bigger move to move somebody significant? I don't know the answer to that question. So I will say in that sense, no, I don't, I think they are looking to add one way or another. But I will say this: if you heard what Jackson Merrill said, and he had a couple of gold lines today, as Jackson typically does, and gets the Padres fans going. Look, if you heard what he said today, and I think Manny echoed it, and Xander echoed it, and everybody in that clubhouse has echoed it. There's been a lot of talk and attention on what the Padres haven't done or what they don't have, and I do think in that room there's a lot of optimism and focus on what they do have. And I do think they are confident in what they have. And in that sense, in that room right now, believe they have a team that is ready to compete and has star power. And I tend to agree with that sentiment. When you look at this roster, top to bottom, albeit not a perfect roster. So on one hand, I think inside that room, there's a lot of confidence about who they are and what they have. And I think they feel complete. But I think it's pretty clear, based on what AJ and the Padres CEO have said publicly, that, this is probably not the finished product. And Eric Greupner made the point today that spring training tends to be a time where AJ Preller does get busy. So we'll see what transpires over the next handful of weeks.
All right, Sammy, always appreciate your hard work, buddy. We'll check up with you again on Thursday. Normally we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday with you, but a different work week this week. So we'll check in with you in a couple of days. Please enjoy the Arizona sun. I know you will, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Sammy.
All right. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
The great Sam Levitt, just grinding, doing all the work.
We are still how many days into spring training are we? Like a week? Like a little over
we made it a week yet?
This was the seventh day. This was the seventh day, yeah.
And a lot has kind of gone down, a lot of interviews and clips, and there's still, 6 weeks to go, 5 weeks to go. So pace yourselves, everybody.
Yeah, we're still in that give me more feeling right now. Like every single thing is exciting.
Games start this Friday.
They'll start playing games on Friday, and then things will settle in.
Yes.
Right quick they'll settle in. We'll have those games on our laptop. We'll be sitting here letting you know what's going on with this, that, and the other thing. Oh, we're so close.
Yeah.
We're so close. I swear, I felt like I was thinking about this morning. It's February 18th. Next weekend, not this coming weekend, the weekend after, it's March. And March.
Yeah, because leap year.
It's not a leap year.
Oh, wait, not a leap year.
Leap year is when it's longer.
Yeah.
Well, yes. But February then.
28 days.
28 days. So weird.
It truly felt like January was 90 days long.
I guess that's what February gives you.
A
reprieve from January.
No, that. January always takes forever.
January takes forever. And then you get to February and it's like February's just like, nope, never mind. Let's do March.
It's only 3 days less.
It feels like a long time.
It feels like 30 days less.
Today's January 1000.
I swear it felt like the longest January of my life.
It was a long January.
2025. Just every day lasted 7 days in some forms. Hey, great news. Joe Polito called in. He's on hold.
Joe, you're entered into the contest. Congrats.
Hey, Joe. Stay right there, Joe. Braden's going to get your info during this break. We are going to take a timeout, and we're going to come back, hit reset on some of the topics we haven't discussed yet. NHL, biggest dub of the century for the sport? That sounds like hyperbole, but maybe not if you watched what was going on Saturday night and what's still to come this week. We'll talk about the Four Nations face-off, plus the mess that was NBA All-Star Weekend and how those juxtapose against one another when we continue with Andy and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Craig Elsten for Underdog, the leading sports app that you can play right here in the state of California, where you can win up to 1,000 times your money backing your sports knowledge on Underdog. It's NBA season. All-Star weekend just passed. Regular season games pick back up on Thursday. And that means your chance to win. All you have to do is choose whether a player is going to go higher or lower on one of their stats, like points, assists, rebounds, and more. And hey, it's beyond the NBA. How about college basketball, the Four Nations face-off, TGL, PGA Golf, Major Arena Soccer League? Basically, if it exists, you can find it on Underdog. You can play with as little as $1. If you got everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have won billions of dollars making picks on Underdog, an app with over 100,000 five-star reviews. All you have to do is download the Underdog app and sign up now using the promo code CRAIG, C-R-A-I-G, to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun. Sign up with promo code CRAIG. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona and Massachusetts, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. The Slam Dunk in Vegas National Contest is your chance at the ultimate trip to Las Vegas. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to 97.3 The Fan for at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into this national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination. Pardon me. Okay. Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim plus $20,000 cash. Good luck. National contest. Everybody's eligible. Low odds of winning, but every day, every hour that you play, you're racking up entries.
Yeah. Get your name in there.
Let's go. Good luck. Better you, not somebody from Pittsburgh or Murfreesboro or
Darvish, you?
Huh?
Well, I mean, I think it'd be. I don't think you needs to go into the Odyssey suite with 20 friends. I think he could get his own suite. To be honest with you, with more than 20 friends.
Yeah,
he's a very beloved human being. But we digress. Let's get to what we haven't talked about yet today. We chatted through it a little bit at the end of the week, Annie. We knew that Saturday would bring USA Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We heard Brady Tkachuk say, this is going to be the biggest game of my life going into the weekend. And you're like, bro, this is an exhibition tournament.
Doesn't count, but it does.
But it does. I haven't heard this always, but I've heard it now in hockey so many times in the last week, just the phrase best on best. Okay, and what that means in international soccer is the World Cup, right? When the World Cup arrives, every team is going to have every one of their best players possible on the pitch. In the NHL, when they're talking about international competition and then they say best on best, that means we're not just bringing out a representative squad for the United States and Canada. We are looking to pick the best players in the world that we can select. We're going to create the ultimate team, not who's available. Oh, this guy's got a busy week. This guy's got an endorsement opportunity. This guy doesn't want to fly. We're going to leave him out. No, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants in. Everybody wants to be on the ice. The NHL All-Star Game is useless. There's nothing to it. No one defends. After years of increasingly boring, increasingly high-scoring games, they switched to a 3-on-3 competition. That was arguably a little better, but it's still just as meaningless and unimportant. And even in a world where the NBA All-Star Game was struggling, the NHL All-Star Game was struggling worse than that. It was just, if you weren't really, really deep into hockey, the NHL All-Star Game was just like, whatever. Complete ignorable content for anybody. 4 Nations ain't that. This is being taken by the players, Annie, more, gotta say it again, more seriously than the Stanley Cup. More seriously.
Yeah. I mean, the physicality and the intensity was just something to watch. I mean, it clearly means so much to these players. They cracked the code on making an all-star game worth watching. And I know we've talked about it on this show. You brought it up, certainly, Craig, about making the WBC be something like their all-star game. And you kind of see the recipe for it work this way in the NHL. But it's set up for a beautiful game on Thursday. We've got to wait till Thursday to watch that one. But clearly, and I know Braden talked about it a lot on his show too, a lot at stake here, even if it doesn't actually count towards standings, which it doesn't, but a lot at stake in terms of pride and passion for the country they're playing for.
It's the first time that you're not seeing, in this day and age of professional sports and even college sports, where every athlete is a mercenary, you finally get athletes that are playing for something that's bigger than them.
Yeah.
And it is their country.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of pride in that, and they love representing their country, and they're playing hard for that, just like you used to see back in the day with a lot of professional sports, where like playing for that organization was important to them. Now, this is not a player's fault. It's a mixed of, it's a business, right? I mean, professional sports are an entertainment business. And part of being an entertainment business is the organizations have to make business decisions on players in which they do not have to be loyal to said players. And over the recent 10, 15 years, players have realized that they don't need to be loyal to organizations. Because, again, it's an entertainment league. And so that's the sports that we have now created in professional sports where everybody's kind of looking out for themselves, which it is what it is, but it makes for a not that great of a product. And all of these professional sports leagues are starting to trend downward. And for a while, you had that sense of pride at the college level because it was 4 years. They would spend like 4 years, not a lot of people transferred before they put in the transfer portal NIL. You saw March Madness, right? March Madness is the greatest sporting event in the United States every year. And for the longest time, it was because you would have these players that were playing for their basketball lives.
Right.
Because
this is it. This is the end of it for me. Right.
From playing basketball at age 5 all the way to 22, the next game they lost, they were never going to play the game ever again. And it was single limb, and it's chaos, and guys are going hard. But on top of that, they had the sense of pride of playing for their school, and they represented the school, and they loved wearing the name on the front more so than the name on the back. And that was the case for college sports, and that kind of got a big bump competing with the professional sports, and then they've added the transfer portal, NIL, and everything like that because that's turned into a gigantic business. Again, starting with the schools and the TV contracts that led to the players doing the exact same thing, and you're seeing this decrease, I would say effort, but the lack of passion that you used to have back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s where it was a pride thing for a lot of these players. And, the Celtics-Lakers rivalries in the NBA and all of these big-time old-fashioned hate rivalries. And you wanted, the sense of, we're not all employees of the same organization. We're going to go out there and compete, and I'm going to represent my organization or who I play for or everything like that. And you're getting that with this product. And I didn't think it was going to be like this. I thought it'd be a little bit more entertaining, obviously, than an all-star game. But the level of intensity with this is you're just getting what professional sports were a couple of years, 15 years ago, and that's why people love it.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a lot of people who don't even normally watch hockey, and I'm a little guilty of that as well. But found a lot of entertainment, right, in this tournament, and it does make you want to learn more about the sport and watch the sport more. So, it's a win-win.
You get to see all the best hockey players in the world play on these all-star teams and play as hard. This is the first time you actually get to see it where they're not worried about getting hurt and they care about playing, where they've tried to find ways. You got a little bit of taste of that in the NBA in-season tournament with some money incentives, right? But the reality is what sports fans want to see are the best athletes in their sport competing at the highest level possible and them wanting it almost as bad as fans want it. That's what they want to see. And we haven't seen that in the last couple of years with this new era of sports. And you're getting that. And the way the NHL created this is phenomenal. And hopefully other leagues could try to figure out how they can replicate this. I think it's easier with baseball than it is with the other leagues. I think the NBA is getting to it with the in-season tournament with some money incentives, but there needs to be some new incentives for a lot of these organizations to get players to play as hard as they're playing right now in this tournament.
And listen, there's no question about it, and it must be acknowledged that this happened at a time, a specific window in time, when American-Canadian relationship is at an all-time low, a historic all-time low. Since we fought in a war in the late 1700s, an all-time low American-Canadian relationship because the American president suggested taking over the country of Canada and turning it into a U.S. state. And while that was obviously not actionable, just imagine if Justin Trudeau had said, hey, you know what? I think we're going to make the United States the 11th province of Canada. And then immediately a Canadian all-star team came to the United States to play in Boston or New York. Like, what would happen? Well, that's what happened in Montreal. The fans booed the anthem. The fans booed the Americans. The Americans got pissed, rightfully so, understandably so. And that's why you got the ultimate hockey version of this, which is 3 fights in 9 seconds to start Saturday. Believe me when I tell you, fighting has been, for the most part, drummed out of hockey. It's not even where it is a decade ago. It's not even where it was 5 years ago. It's been mostly drummed out of hockey. But both these clubs knew. They knew. There was only one way to truly decide this, and that was to drop the gloves. And to hear all the players talking about how, I mean, they're like, it's one of the greatest moments of my life. Like, you hear players who weren't in the fight going like, I've never been more pumped up than the moments in the first half hour of that game. And so you understand, like, it's all coming together. It's not that the NHL, like, this is a genius idea, don't get me wrong, but it's not like they knew it was going to hit this way. The geopolitics of the situation have created the environment by which it's going to hit this way, but now you've got the players completely invested. Thursday is going to be insane because trust me when I tell you, Annie, Canada is going to come to play that game as if it is the most important thing that the country of Canada has done or will do in the 21st century. Trust me when I tell you that they are going to be as motivated as anyone has ever been on Thursday.
It should be fun to watch. And like I said, for people who don't even follow hockey, should be like a really good game, or something that can be really entertaining for people to watch. Is this, though, they're planning to do this every year, right? Like is this like their new format, or is this just for this year?
I think they have the Olympics next year.
Next year is Olympics.
Oh, that's right.
Next year is Olympics, so it will happen next year, but it'll happen with Russia involved. It'll happen with
on the
all
Olympic
the countries
stage,
involved.
yes.
Yeah. Now, what they do in 2027, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't feel like you can do this every single year.
Right.
Like, you can't. Maybe every other year you could.
Yeah, maybe you just find a way to fold it in somehow.
Yeah. But, I mean, you juxtapose this with the NBA All-Star Weekend and how badly they wanted to fix things. And I'm the biggest NBA apologist probably on the air in San Diego. But I love the NBA. I tried to tune in. I was working Sunday, okay? I was working. I was at the Soccers, so I really couldn't. I can't speak to you as a consumer that was sitting there and say that I wouldn't have tuned. But I did have my little iPad, and I tried to tune into the NBA. And literally, I tuned in 3 different times, and they weren't playing. They weren't playing. Kevin Hart was talking. And I'm like, well, okay, there's no game. I guess I'll come back later. And then I came back, and he was still talking. And I came back later, he was still talking. Because they had the shorter game, so they had all this downtime in between. Then they even stopped the championship game halfway through for Kevin Hart to give fishing outfits to the Inside the NBA crew as if they were retiring, when in reality, they're just moving to ESPN next year to do the exact same show. But we did this whole thing to, like, shut it down like they were retiring.
Yeah, I tried to watch a little of it, and it was not exciting.
It's unwatchable.
Right.
It was so bad.
I think the other thing, too, is, and to go back to what I was saying before, is I think a lot of players previously used to understand, like, these were all parts of the job. And why they were getting paid what they were getting paid is for all of these other things, like help support the sport. And, like, I have to go participate in this. This is a reason why. There's a lot of things in when you do fun jobs like we have. There are certain things that we don't like to do, but it comes with the territory of the job. And I think a lot of athletes have gotten to the point now where they don't see it as that anymore, of growing the game that I'm getting paid to do is not part of my job if I don't want to do it. I mean, like LeBron getting picked for the All-Star game and then waiting to the last possible moment just to announce he's not going to participate in it.
Yeah.
So no other player can be in the All-Star game so he can continue his 20 straight All-Star games, whatever it is. Is such a joke.
That's
Chris Paul. Chris Paul and the and Wemby just making a mockery of the skills challenge. I mean, that's the difference between what the NBA is doing right now and what the NHL got, benefit of with this Four Nations thing. I don't want to watch that.
Right.
Nobody wants to watch that.
Nobody wants to watch it. Here, I'll drill the point as simply as I can. The star of the NBA All-Star Weekend is a kid who's played 5 games in the NBA in his entire career, Max McClung, because he's dunking over cars, he's dunking over Evan Mobley, he's won 3 straight dunk contests. He can't play in the NBA. He's not close to good enough to be in the NBA. And he is the face of your All-Star weekend. Who's the face of what's going on in the Four Nations? It's the Kachucks. It's Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
It's Mikko Rantanen. It's the best stars in the world that are playing their absolute hardest. Over here, we've got a G League kid jumping over a car.
Yeah, the dunk contest. It's the same. Baseball's going that way with the home run derby. Nobody wants to participate in it. And you got, except for Pete Alonso, because he's like, that's the only thing he wants to do.
Yeah,
He doesn't
you
want.
get
He doesn't want to play
get,
games.
right.
He doesn't want to play
Yeah.
and for the Mets. He just wants to play in the home run derby and deadlift in between his sets. But those are supposed to be showcased for the best players, and the best players don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah,
and they don't. They don't. I don't think they fully understand it. It comes with the territory of being. It's part of the contract.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not written in the contract, but the reality, it was always implied that it was part of the contract, and now it's it's not in my contract. I don't need to do that.
Just a disastrous weekend for the NBA. And listen, I actually think in a very small, incremental fashion, they improved the format over the previous year. Previous year was 211 to 186. It was
I watched a 3-point contest.
It was a ghastly
Yeah, right.
game. This was at least some version of competitive, but it's still wrong. It still wasn't good enough. And then they just got the terrible fortune of having the NHL come up with its single best thing in decades. That went head-to-head and side-to-side, and now, for the first time since the mid-'90s, people are looking at NHL above NBA for a minute. That'll change in a month. But for a minute, it's like, oh, hang on a second. Maybe you're onto something there, hockey. So good on you, NHL, NBA, back to the drawing board. Guess what they'll do next year? I'll tell you right now. They're going to do U.S. versus the world next year.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And guess why it won't work? Because the players will still not care to play defense in that game.
They're not going to play hard, so it's not.
Right.
It's not going to be worth
so
watching.
it won't matter. Until you play hard, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you play hard, it matters, and we care. And that's the by and the large of it. And I love the NBA, but still, it's the truth. Okay, let's take our last break. And when we come back, it's time for Ask Us Anything. Let's do it. We've only got 3 of these this week because we got a short show on Friday. So give us a call right now. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. You've got 10 minutes to call the show. If you call us, we're going to put you on the air. All you got to do is come ready with a question to ask the show. Ask Us Anything wraps us up. Annie and Elsten, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment for today, 1:45 on the Fan. It's Annie and Elsten. We'll be back tomorrow with another full 4 hours for you. More spring training sound, courtesy of Sam Levitt. Aztec recap. Hopefully we don't have to go too deep because they're playing Fresno State. Really hoping that this one is like, well.
I'm really hoping it's not a terrible Ben tweet tonight.
Right.
I just hope he tweets twice.
Yeah, two tweets. Exactly.
One thing that is noteworthy about this last Aztecs game is Ben couldn't tweet a lot because he was on date night. So maybe he has to continue to follow that path. I don't know.
Go on a date?
Yeah.
Just go on a date tonight?
Maybe his tweets were hurting the team.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they might have been helping us on our show, but maybe his lack of tweets were a helpful boost to the Aztecs.
Do you think, like, David Velasquez is down there on the bench, like, in between calling defenses?
Yes,
He's like,
yes.
guys, did you see what Ben texted me? Can you believe this guy? And it's getting in the kids' heads. They're a little young. They might. Yeah. I could see how a Ben tweet could get in your head.
And on Saturday, it was like, there's no Ben. He's not really tweeting.
Yeah,
he's on a date night. They're like, we can play free.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. How about that?
Well, maybe.
I think it's up there in a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Matt
I'm
definitely
totally
agrees.
kidding, by the way, for that one person out there that's going to be like, is she serious? No, I'm not.
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
By the way, Matt is coming up with those other guys, Gwen and Chris, coming up today from 2 to 6 p.m. The Gwen and Chris show follows us. Scraby Alone from 6 to 7.
All right.
A trip inside the borders of Scrabistan. What's it going to be today? Who knows? Let's hit this bumper and finish our part. Still have time to call the show, 833-288-0973. That's our number, 833-288-0973. You got 3 more minutes. Give us a call. New York Mike. We talked enough hockey. We rang the bell. New York Mike answered. What's up, New York Mike? Ask us anything.
Oh, super pumped for Thursday. If anybody's looking for a hot spot to watch the game Thursday, Draft Republic in Carlsbad has a wall-to-wall screen. Beautiful place to watch a game.
Love it, brother.
All right.
Well, plug. Thanks, New York Mike.
And here's the trivia question I got for you. The only Major League Baseball player with over 500 hits for 4 different franchises is...
I actually know this one.
I do not know this one.
Le Grand Orange, Rusty
Very
Staub.
good. Very good. Very good, Greg.
You got it. Guess what one of those 4 teams was? Your New York Metropolitans, Mike. Appreciate you, brother.
New York Mike sounds like New York Mike.
Yeah, he was.
He's got the accent. He's got the little New
Sounds like
Yorkie.
it sounds like he should be owning a pizza joint.
Right.
Detroit, Houston, Montreal, and the New York Mets.
How do you know this?
I'll tell you how I know that one.
Okay.
Pretty sure I know that one from doing Immaculate Grid. Because it was one of the players who came up for like a lot of different categories, and then someone wrote about it. But I don't know why I happen to know that, but I did know that. Yeah. He's the only player that's had 500 hits for 4 teams.
Wow.
So do we, Jocelyn. So do we.
Well, Jocelyn, I think I know how you can do that. How you can
Draft Republic.
Go to Draft Republic.
Like
right.
It's up to your neck of the woods.
Thursday,
he's giving you the blueprint.
That's right.
You should be good in that circumstance. 833-288-0973. Someone just hung up while we were talking to New York Mike.
He was
John
not a fan of
didn't
New
want
York.
it bad enough.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Cold
No, he
feet.
didn't. Well, where's the little box then? Do you still have it?
Delve deck.
Yeah, the Delve
Somebody
deck.
in the Brandon asked, "What's better, when Woods tweets Padre games or Ben tweets Aztec games?"
Oh, I don't really know that. Does Woods have the same kind of tweeting style during Padres
It's
games
not
that Ben has?
It's
during
Ben's is
Aztecs?
different. Ben's is more of a sarcastic, dry humor.
Yeah. He tries to be funnier, I think.
I think Ben, just because the Aztecs are like this obscure, random, like he's picked his bone with that team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
we
talk more about Padres.
We need Annie tweeting about the goals or something.
Right. Exactly.
So
like
random.
it's
Just
some
random.
we're just kind of random to me in that sense. Like, did Ben graduate from SDSU even? Like,
No,
he
yeah,
went
that's
to
what I'm saying.
Pomona
So
Pittsner.
it's
Pomona Pitzer College. He was a sagehen.
Sagehen.
okay. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just a little more
You
off
play
the
golf
cuff.
or something? A golfer?
Yeah. I would you know how much I would love it if you had one team that you just randomly were obsessed about?
Right.
Like
It would be great if I did that.
Like if it was the Mojo or if it was anyone.
Chicago Bears.
But it was just like, that was just, you just got like so into it.
Any Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
So
yes.
into it.
Maybe I have to take that on this season. On
do it.
Twitter.
Please don't do it.
I'll probably lose followers, right?
You probably would. They'd be like, why is she tweeting about the Bears?
You shouldn't do that. Something else. Just
Something else. Yeah.
Here's Parker in Encinitas. Parker called in under the deadline. What's up, Parker?
Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
So my question is that we're talking about hockey. What sport do you think would be more entertaining if there was more fighting in it?
Baseball. I want to see all the fighting. When you run in from the benches, actually do something.
The answer
Not
is
just a
baseball.
screaming match and a little tug of war.
Although I will tell you that in itself is entertaining because they don't really want to fight. They just, unless you're like Carlos Quentin or there's a few that have like actually thrown punches or whatever. But for the most part, they don't want to ruin their faces. They don't want to have black eyes. They don't want any of that.
Watching absolute brawls in soccer would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Like just
oh my Lord,
huge brawl every time.
20 red cards, just red. You all get red. No, baseball is the objective correct answer, Parker, because there have been fun fights.
Or Rougned Odor.
In
Exactly.
baseball. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Golf, no one knows how to throw a punch. That's not
Golf
going to
would
work.
be actually that's good. You get Happy Gilmore
Golf
out there.
would be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Scheffler's just squaring off with Tony Finau. I don't see that.
Put your dukes up.
I don't see that one. Jocelyn chose violence. She said bowling. That would be
very dangerous.
Very dangerous. People throwing 15-pound bowling
Yeah,
balls
you're not
at each
allowed
other.
to use
the sports
like,
equipment.
Right. Like in baseball, you can't use obviously the bats and stuff. And kids, we do not condone violence. This is just a question we were asked, right?
Right. Oh, it is Ask Us Anything, and that definitely qualified. Yeah, Brooks and Bryson, that would have been fun back in the day. Those guys, but then you'd see those painted on muscles, but they don't know actually how to throw, and so then it would be really sad.
Looks like baseball.
So they just wrestled and then fell down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or then
That's not a bad question.
Jim Nance is over there. Hello, friends. Let's separate this.
Hello,
Can't be
friend.
this way.
Right.
Or he just turns into a WWE announcer. By God!
Flexes that
By
muscle.
God, that's Bryson's music. This isn't even a PGA event. Oh, my Lord. Okay, good question. More fighting in tennis.
Yeah.
Boring. Not interested.
I did think that was funny. Over the weekend, anytime USD picked over, TCU would chant boring, which I thought was an interesting way to do it. And then I realized it was the head coach's 10-year-old daughter started the boring chants on the pickoffs.
Oh, wow.
I was asking my teacher this play-by-play for TCU, and he was like, oh, yeah, it's Lane. That's Lane Sarlos down there leading the boring chants on the pickoff plays. That's so much better than booing. I hate when Petco Park like, oh, boo. And everyone's like, does anybody even know why they're booing right now on the pickoff plays? Now, boring, that makes more sense. If you're booing because it's boring, just say it's boring.
Yes.
Pickoff plays, boring. And then the USD fans started doing it when TCU picked off. It's great. It's a great time.
There's no minimum pickoff in college, right? You
Correct.
Can throw
They have
over
a
1,000 times.
And they have a pitch clock, too, so they step off and throw just to get a new clock.
God, now I think back on that, and it's like they used to throw
So
in
many
baseball.
times.
They used to throw over.
No 3-batter minimum in college either.
12 times.
So, yeah, 12 times in a row, or every other.
No Manfred man in
pitch.
college baseball either. I could have been in for a long night on Friday
Yes.
last week.
Hey, that's it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day, whether it was for 4 hours or for 4 minutes. For Annie and Braden, I'm Craig. Take care. Gwen and Chris are up next.
Bye.